morning. Welcome, bienvenue to the council meeting for the municipality of the county of Annapolis. I'll inform you to make sure that your phones are off because we are being recorded and therefore we do not need to have any interruption. So we'll move on with our agenda. We have roll call. District 1, Councillor Carrie Ann Carson-Salzman is excused for the day. District 2.
District 2, Jesse Hare. District 3, Dustin Enslow. District 4, Charles Cranton.
District 5, Lynn Longmire.
District 6, John Welch.
District 7, Ted Eggenbar.
District 8, Niall Harding.
District 9, Gidget Oxford.
District 10, Brian Fuzgano.
District 11, Diane LeBlanc. We have presentations today from the Annapolis County Housing Association at 1:30, and we'll have a second one from the Annapolis River Festival at 2 o'clock. Are there any disclosure of interest for today? Yes, Councillor Harding.
Item 6.6, approved community grants, Port Royal Legion Branch 21. Disclose an interest as I am a member of the executive.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Harding. Madam, continue? Yes. Okay. We have the approval of the order of the day. We have to add under in camera, section 10.2, 22.2E, contract negotiations, and also 10.3, which is also 22.2E under contract negotiations. So the two additions are under contract negotiations. Are there any other additions to the order of the day? Seeing none, I need to move the order of the day with a motion with the amendments. And so I need a mover. Councillor Welch. And a seconder. Councillor Oxford. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 No? Motion passed. Okay, now we have the approval of the municipal council minutes. The first ones are at page 15, which is Tuesday, March 18th. Are there any corrections that are needed for the minutes? Seeing no corrections to the minutes, they are approved as is. Okay, second minutes, or the public hearing, actually, on page 24, of Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. Are there any corrections to the minutes of the public hearing? Seeing none, minutes are approved as is. Okay. On page 28, we have public hearing number 2, which was held on March 18, 2025. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved as is. We are now going to page 31, which are the Committee of the Whole recommendations. I will be, as you know, looking for councillors to put motions on the floor and second them. So, let's start with 6.1. Councillor Welch.
I move to give first reading to bylaw 4, repeal mobile home park bylaw P1 pursuant to the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole.
Thank Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Cranton. Any comments or discussions on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. 6.2. Councillor Harding.
I move to approve policy 102, personnel, 7-day notice given on April 8th, 2025.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Longmire. Any discussions on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. 6.3. Councillor Cranton.
I move to approve policy 109, tax exemption and reduction, 7-day notice given on April 8th, 2025.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Oxner. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. 6.4. Councillor Longmire.
I move to approve the road name Voyager Lane for the shared access road in Granville Ferry on PID 05131842 in accordance with the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Harding. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. 6.5. Councillor Ackenbar.
I move to approve a grant to Bridgetown Area Historical Society, James House Museum, in the amount of $20,000 to do an electrical upgrade for the James House Museum to be used safely in accordance with Policy 101 Community Grants pursuant to the recommendation of Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconder. Deputy Warden. Hello? Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Against, no. Motion passed. Motion 6.6. Councillor Oxner.
I move to approve a grant to Port Royal Legion, Branch 21, in the amount of $5,000 to help support the purchase and installation of heat pumps in accordance with Policy 101 Community Grants pursuant to the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Cranton. Any comments or questions on this motion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed.
Got a conflict.
Okay. Thank you. 6.7. Councillor Connell.
I move to approve a grant to the Annapolis Valley Exhibition Society in the amount of $20,000 to help support electrical upgrades and repairs in accordance with Policy 101 Community Grants pursuant to the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Cranton. Comments or questions? Oh, Councillor Connell.
I'd just like to thank the council investing money into things that are important to our county is important and shows that our support. And the exhibition is one of the highly exhibitions noted across the province, and it brings our agricultural background into our community. So I'm very glad to see council supports items like this.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comments? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. Motion 6.8. Councillor Ackenbar.
I move to approve a grant to Paradise Historical Society in the amount of $9,800 to help create an accessible washroom in accordance with Policy 101 Community Grants pursuant to the recommendation of Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconder?
I'll second.
Deputy Warden? Any comments or questions? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. Motion 6.9. Councillor Harding.
I move to approve a grant to Maitland Bridge Community Hall in the amount of $18,644.68 to help install a new electrical panel and heat pumps in accordance with Policy 101 Community Grants pursuant to the recommendation of Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Welch. Comments or questions? Discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. Motion 610. Councillor Hare.
I move to approve a grant to South Shore Annapolis Valley Recreational Trail Association in the amount of $10,000 to help support trail and upgrades to improve trail user safety in accordance with Policy 101 Community Grants pursuant to the recommendation of Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconder. Deputy Warden. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. Motion 611. Councillor Agenbar.
I move to approve a grant to West Dalhousie Community Hall Association in the amount of $15,257.62 to improve the heating system, emergency exit, and roof in accordance with Policy 101 Community Grants pursuant to the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Welch. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. Motion 612. Councillor Welch.
I move to approve a grant to Bear River Board of Trade in the amount of $10,000 to improve Bear River Waterfront Park in accordance with Policy 101 Community Grants pursuant to the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconder is Councillor Harding. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. Motion 613. Councillor Oxner.
I move to approve a grant to Valley Regional Hospital Foundation in the amount of $5,000 to help reduce financial barriers and burdens for financially compromised patients receiving treatment in accordance with Policy 101 Community Grants pursuant to the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Harding. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. Last motion, 6.14, Councillor Longmire.
I move to approve a grant to Cats for Keeps Rescue Society in the amount of $5,000 to help with veterinarian care and medication in accordance with Policy 101 Community Grants pursuant to the recommendation of Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Agenbar. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Against, no. Motion passed. Page 33? Yes. Page 33. You have the revised policy of 102 personnel. And just for information, yes. And that takes us to page 55. Yes, page 55. The report from Madame Campbell. We have a motion to put on the floor. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cranton.
I move to recommend that municipal council give final reading to approve bylaw 6, commercial activity on municipal property, first reading March 18th, 2025.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Hare? Discussion on the motion. Seeing no discussion, no hands. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Against, no. Motion passed. We are on page 62. Prepared, a staff report prepared by Mr. Young, Mr. Young. We have a motion to put on the floor. Deputy Warden.
Thank you. I move that municipal council authorize staff to proceed with the detailed design for Granville Street in accordance with scope outlined in option 2.
Seconder, thank you. Councillor Agambar. Now it's time for discussion on the motion. We will have Mr. Young. Mr. Young, start.
Okay, so this spring at the capital budget time, we received $200,000 to do the design for the work to go to tender next year. We're at the stage now where all the survey pickup has been done, looking at different options. We have to make a decision on what option. Do we want to just replace the street, the curbs, and all the things under it? Or I can walk through the different options. That would be option 3. Do we want to do option 1, maintain the north side sidewalk and construct new sidewalk on the south side? Now, I want to point out, any new sidewalk we construct in the county must be accessible. That's 1.5 meters wide. That's double. Take those 2 sidewalks we have on Granville Street, put them together. This is still bigger than both those. So I want you to think about that and think about ongoing maintenance and ongoing snow clearing as we go through the options. So option 1 is maintain sidewalk on the north side and construct a new sidewalk on the south side. Okay, so new big sidewalk on the south side, keep one on the north side. Option 1B is construct a new sidewalk on the north and south side. And we'd have to move the utility poles, because that right away, if you drive through, you can see the utility poles are not at the 66-foot right away. They're a lot closer. So we're in discussions with Nova Scotia Power and the phone company trying to move those out anyway, to give a new look to the street, so that you're not driving in and you see the poles right on top of you, because that's what you see now. Option 2 is to remove the north side sidewalk or just grass over it, leave it there, seed it, put sidewalk, new sidewalk on the south side. Now, coupled with all this, we want to also slow traffic down. We're going to put a new stop sign at Bay Street. So on Granville Street at Bay Street, have a new 3-way stop to slow all traffic down coming on Granville. Because that's one of the issues we have. Both ends. We can put all the speed signs we want up, but without actually physically making traffic stop, they're not going to slow down. And we're not getting people there to check the speeders, so we've got to physically do something. So we're going to do that, and we're going to look at something in the east end as well, to slow traffic down, because it is a town. You know, it's one of our biggest communities. So those are the options. Our recommendation, because we're trying to be as efficient as possible, cost-wise and long-term maintenance-wise, is option 2. We're just putting 1 new sidewalk on the south side. Like I said, it's wider than the 2 sidewalks that are there added together. And that'll be enough for us to maintain. By keeping a sidewalk and keeping the old sidewalk, we're in the same boat, plus we have more maintenance to do on the bigger sidewalk. So think about that. Traffic up, like a plow, up and the back sidewalk plow, whereas right now it's 1 pass. Now we're going to be doing 2 passes on there. More cost to the area rate, you know, whatever. However we want to cost that out. So, that's why I'm here. seeking your direction and your wisdom.
Scroll down the figure too.
No.
Up a little bit.
Show us the three, there you go.
So linear infrastructure replacement, that means all water, sewer, and storm sewer. That'll mean all the residents have their sump pumps and everything connected to our sewer will be disconnected. So they might as well get their heads around that, same way we did on Queen Street. Because the sewer line is not meant for that.
Scroll down the figure too.
Those are too sensitive for me. Okay, we're starting, basically, we're just before the sidewalk that's there on the south side now, and running all the way to Jubilee Park with this phase of the project. And this phase might be split into 2 years or whatever kind of funding we get, but we're going to do the design all at once and agree upon what that's going to be, because that will transition throughout all of Granville Street. Question?
So, if we're gonna replace sidewalks, and it's gonna be double the width or plus, what's that gonna do to the trees on people's front lawns that are gonna be in the path of the crosswalk? Also, the path of the power going through.
Well, the sidewalk would be on public property, so if those trees are in the way, they're on public property. They're not on their property.
Oh, I understand that. But I understand when you go to a door and tell them you're gonna take down a nice big tree they got in their front yard,
They're 200
they're not gonna understand that it's on.
I know,
Will we get some samples?
but I guess, we haven't looked, they haven't given me any report on the specific trees, and we haven't looked at that yet. But all they do is reference in here the poles
Yeah.
and putting sidewalks around the poles. I'm not a fan of that. That leads to problems. People are riding bikes, whatever, on the sidewalk, boom, they hit a pole.
Yeah.
And it's because they left a pole on the sidewalk. Well, we don't do that.
No,
Move them
I
outside.
understand that, but when you move those poles back, and you move them back beyond the
Well,
sidewalk.
the poles can be placed where we're not compromising trees.
Well, didn't you drive down, you probably didn't drive down number 1 highway this morning.
No.
They're trimming
Trimming
trees,
trees.
2 different areas. So I mean, power lines, you gotta trim the trees. And I
Yeah.
mean, they hack those trees to get the power lines so they're not interfering with the branches.
I know,
They
but-
might as well come down, so,
I know it's a sensitive issue,
yeah. That's,
because people have a lot of history of owning the house with the tree where it is. 99% of the landowners know where their land starts and stops. And they know the tree's probably not on their property. Any landowner I've talked to about the issue.
and I understand that no matter, other than leaving them the way they are, you're gonna have some kind of interference there with poles going and the trees coming.
Yeah.
So I just,
And it's a little early for that yet, because Nova Scotia Power is just looking at that and what they have to do. I just want to get the design nailed down, so then we can talk about poles and where we would move poles.
Recognizing there will be almost assuredly some trees that will have to be removed in order to hit the road the proper width and put a sidewalk there on one side. Just the math doesn't work. The only other way is to move, when you take away the sidewalk on the north side, to move the road over.
Shift the road away from trees, and
And that would be a problem as well.
that would be more expensive.
Any other? Councillor Longmire?
Thank you. Certainly, the degradation right now on those sidewalks is horrendous, and certainly not really safe, passable, for wheelchairs or anything right now, right? Bicycles, children, last summer I witnessed, a child get all trapped up on a big bump and fell into the road, and, these things are accidents that we don't want to happen. We certainly don't want the horrible outcomes that could be possible. So I'm excited to see that this is before us, and it's so necessary. And although we do need to be sensitive, I know, people who have moved in, they've acquired their properties knowing what they look like and feel like, and that's lovely. But, accessibility is before us, and we do have an obligation to as well meet the needs of that. So I think certainly maintaining anything as it exists today is not even, or shouldn't even be considered. It should be a new construction, right? The stretch that's presented, and how long do we think it's going to take to go end to end? Any idea?
It's all based on funding.
Yeah.
What's out there,
Yeah, I think about the area that comes close enough to town, those sidewalks certainly. But, yeah, this is exciting. Hopefully, everyone will see it as, although the trees, and being sensitive around that. Nova Scotia Power has the very same issue. They have to go in and do their work in order to maintain electricity for us. So, to meet the needs of accessibility, some trees may have to be somewhat sacrificed. So, thanks today.
Yeah, so, we've all been and seen areas when the power corporations come in. I have trees in my front lawn, 2 groups of birch trees. They're on my property, but they're growing over towards the pole lines. Well, now I got great big L's cut into the birch trees. So birch trees are pretty sensitive, so it's just a matter of time before those suckers die, when you leave them like that. But that's the nature of the beast. You don't really have much say.
Thanks.
All right, Councillor Connolly, you did have your hand up there, and I think I cut you off. I'm sorry for that.
Well, I was just kind of wanted to get a feel on a little bit about where the funding is going to come from if we proceed. What are we looking at for funding?
Funding?
I'm hoping it isn't all going to come out of our gas tax.
No, the plan is to get the designs done this budget year with the $200,000 that's allocated. We'll be ready this fall. We expect, based after the federal election, we're hoping there'll be a new infrastructure program. We would apply for the infrastructure program provincially federally this fall. And the projects that get funded are the ones that are ready. So that's why we need to be ready to have the designs done.
Understandable.
And then if that happens, the project would start at the beginning of 2026. Probably, if the funding lines up, then that's 2/3 funding or 73% funding. And then we'd only have to use our other money that wouldn't be gas tax because we can't stack it that way. If it's infrastructure money, we'd have to borrow money on the Bridgetown water system, sewer system, and then decide on what we do with the roads, long-term debt for the county.
Okay.
So at this point, there probably is no gas tax if that works out allocated to this project.
Thank you. Councillor Cranton, and followed by Councillor Welsh.
In regards to option 2, is there any considerations that we have to make in relation to crosswalks, given that you're eliminating a sidewalk on one side of the road?
Well, as I said, we're at Bay Street, because there is a sidewalk that goes up to the fire hall. We're going to put a 3-way stop in there, so then traffic will come to a dead stop instead of a crosswalk, and they come to a stop, so people will be able to walk across the street there. And hopefully traffic is slower, so it's easier to cross the road.
So in this whole section of road, right now, the only crosswalk would be at Bay Street?
There is not even a crosswalk there right
Oh,
now.
so there's no crosswalk
No,
there at all?
no.
Until Jubilee Park, crosswalks start after.
Well, there's one at Jubilee Park.
At Jubilee Park, there's one.
That's where we end.
Yeah, that's where we're in, before we cross the line.
Okay, Councillor Welsh.
Just curious at what point in the process of this design we'll contact the residents that are being directly affected by it to let them know what's happening.
Once we know what direction we're going, we could at that time have a information meeting to make them aware of the decision and what we're going to do and the steps involved and where we are. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Longway, you did have your hand up.
I did, thank you. It was just around that 3-way stop there with Bay meeting Granville. when we change up or where people pass from one side to another, because there isn't a crosswalk there, it's really important that, awareness, early awareness, to make sure people are paying attention. So if there's going to be a three-way, it should as well be considered for a lighted, in my opinion. I think we're long overdue for better paint jobs on the ground and
Oh, yeah.
and lit areas so that we know, flashing light to acknowledge, because it is quite a stretch and people are not necessarily paying attention to the changes, right?
Yeah, and by law, we're supposed to post, new stop sign ahead and
Yes.
new stop signs in all the directions and stuff like that to make the public aware. But we can look at other things. I mean, obviously, we're putting the new intersection in, we're going to be painting all of that as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is Deputy Warden.
Thank you. So, of course, I have a few questions because it affects my district, of course. So, I would love to see, the option that we do it all. That would be great to see on both sides, which would be 1B. But I know that that's not completely realistic, right?
I'd like it.
That's what I'm saying, is it like,
Get the money.
yeah, so that's what I like. But that being said, we just have a lot of factors here to look at, where the fact that there's already 2 existing sidewalks that people utilize. We can question the current condition of them, but we all know that most of them are in bad shape. And from talking to, of course, it's a bit of a hot topic as soon as this went out as the public package, and you start getting contacted, because some people thought that sidewalks are just going to go, like no sidewalks, right? So there was a little bit of panic around that. But we have established community with these sidewalks. So there's a part of me that would like to look at a different option than option 2, which would be option 1A. But then, so with that, I have some questions. So it's actually financially cheaper up front, but we have to look at long term. So in option 1A, it's putting a new sidewalk on the south side, which is actually in Councillor Agenbar's district, and then keeping the one on the north side as is, but just maintaining, like continuing to maintain it. It's a bit of a sensitive topic because on that road, we have a lot of young families, a lot of children. And if we go with option 2 of getting rid of that sidewalk on the north side, where all the kids are, we now have kids that are going to be constantly crossing the number 1 to get to the sidewalk to go to school or to go to any other activity in town, versus if we at least keep the one on the north road. It may not be in the best condition, and we have to spend a little bit of money to maintain it. And there's one section that's going to have to be looked at anyway, but if we put in a 3-way stop at Bay Road, that will fix that slump when it comes down. Because the rest of that sidewalk going outside of the community is actually not in that bad a shape. It's the one on the south side that's the worst. Because that's where all the water main leaks and different things like that. I'm just concerned about the safety of if we get rid of it, is one of my big things. There's a lot of kids on that road, and we're seeing families moving back to the communities because we have a lot of large houses. So my suggestion, and I'll probably end up making an amendment to the motion, is to look at option 1A, to put a new sidewalk on the south side, but leave and do maintenance to the one on the north, at least up to the Bay Road. at a minimum. You know, from the Bay Road down to Jubilee, maybe we can look at that as a cost savings. But it doesn't get rid of any of the safety issue, because right now, there might be no kids, but in the future, who knows? I just don't want us to look at this as like a closed-minded type situation. You know, it's definitely a sensitive thing, because we're ultimately going to be taking away something from the community. And just my thought is just around safety. The fact that we are looking at putting in a three-way stop, perfect. I 100% agree. And that will actually get rid of or help slow down people. Help. Are they going to run the stop sign for the first little bit, just like they did on Fay Road? Probably. Do we need to go through the whole community and paint the sidewalks? Not the sidewalks, the crosswalks, of course. Especially where we did new paving. There's a sidewalk that the kids use at Stoneup. So I just want to throw that out there before I make an amendment to the motion.
Can I just clarify before next?
Yes.
So the project you see in front of you is the capital cost, 6.7, 6.8, 7.2, 6. So before we make any amendment, correct, this is the capital cost. If we leave both sidewalks in, you're going to be into probably $100,000 a year to replace certain sections. Maintaining the other sidewalk doesn't mean just leaving the way it is. It's got to be fixed, maintained, it's going to have to be upgraded, so you're going to have to then upgrade that section to make it accessible in little pieces. So probably $100,000 a year for the next 10 years to upgrade that sidewalk on the other side. So you're going to have two of them. So if we're worried about trees, you're going to take off trees on both sides, and you're going to have two massive sidewalks on both sides eventually.
Well, that was part of our other question, or my other question was around what does maintenance mean? So in my mind, maintenance was maintaining what's there and then doing some odd repair to the existing. My interpretation would be that if it's existing there and we have a new accessible on the other side, that if we're just doing a small section to repair it, we wouldn't have to bring that section up to standard, because it wouldn't, that whole sidewalk wouldn't be up to standard. We couldn't use it.
We wouldn't, so if we've got that whole distance, which is half long.
Yeah.
But if we're going to fix a section, you're going to cut out one little
Yeah.
piece and repair it. That's not going to happen
No.
anymore, because it just doesn't make fiscal sense. You're going to have to take from here
Stretches.
to the car, to the car there. And when you do that, you're not going to just replace it with the small lot anymore. You're going to have to make it accessible. You're not going to just do one piece at a time.
Which is
So-
more awkward.
And so to the point about maintaining, you're going to maintain it, but the sidewalks in some instances are in very hard shape. And so the time for just trying to take one up and put it back down or level it out are probably over in many instances. And so we're getting into whether it's going to be a concrete or asphalt and all that stuff too. So you can't, if we're going to move to like an asphalt surface or even a concrete, and it's the opposite of what's now, you can't just do one little piece.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do a whole section. So I just want to, so I understand what you're saying about maintenance, but maintenance is going to be, if you keep them both the way they are, they're going to stay the way they are for quite a while until you start upgrading. But maintenance on the other one isn't going to say, we're just going to salt it and sand it for a bit. We're going to have to start replacing sections, and that's where it's going to be over and above this time. It's going to be an operating cost.
See, and I understand that completely. It's just, where I keep going with this in my mind is around the safety aspect of it, where I understand that people lived on the number one outside of the former town. You don't have sidewalks and you walk wherever. But by getting rid of one of the two sidewalks, we're now directing people to cross that road, which makes me very very nervous for the families that live there currently and the future families where I wouldn't feel comfortable sending my kids across the number 1 on the race strip to go to the other side to be taking the crosswalk into town. You know, it's different if it wasn't there. If we never had, or if the south end side was always there, but we didn't have one on the north, then we would be having a different conversation versus the fact that we now have 2. It's just, my mind is wrapped around the safety of it. Like, I understand, you know, the nature of the beast with maintenance and things like that, but it's just, that is a dangerous stretch of road. And even if we do put in the 3-way at Bay Road, it still doesn't completely solve the whole issue. Is once you get around that corner, people speed up anyway. So it's just, I don't know. This is just how my thoughts are and the thoughts of the people that's reached out from the people that live in those houses that are affected and the community that is affected ultimately by the decision that we make. That's all I have right now. Before I even look at an amendment, I just want to throw that out on the floor.
Thank you. Yes.
So, the last little bit, because my granddaughter lives in Dartmouth. Been traveling through Halifax, Dartmouth quite a bit and looking at their street designs and what they do. They have speed bumps everywhere. Everywhere. We can start putting those on Granville Street
Yes.
to slow traffic down.
Yes.
If we want.
Couldn't.
I love it. I'm gonna hold you.
It's just suggested, I'm just saying, and these are in residential areas.
Yep.
Where actually people have to walk on the road. There is no sidewalk.
I don't think you're allowed on highway.
No, I don't
That's
think we
the
are.
thing.
Yeah.
Side roads, local roads you can't.
Yeah, maybe not on the highway. We could ask for permission since we own the road, apparently.
Apparently, but really not. Okay, before I go to Councillor Longmire and Councillor Connell, you already had 2 turns, so before I go back to you, Councillor Hardy.
Thank you. While I completely see Councillor Enslow's point to this is something that people already have and it's going to be looked at as being something taken away, I think that there are a lot of examples of areas where this sort of thing is fairly common. I think even on the east end of the town, there's only a sidewalk on one side if you were to come from the Tim Hortons into the town proper where the gym is. And there's a crosswalk there. So there's only a sidewalk on one side. So even in Annapolis right here on the main street, there's only a sidewalk on one side. So they have a similar situation here where there's, I know, plenty of kids and young families that live on the other side of the road. And yes, you know, their children have to cross the road to get to the sidewalk. But it's something that is not uncommon, and it is fairly standard, I would say, that you have one sidewalk on one side of the road. And I think the reason for that is to try to be a little bit fiscally responsible with your maintenance going forward. And your budgets, because of course we all know there's lots of places, I'm sure, in everyone's district that would love to have brand new sidewalks. And I completely understand. I drive through there every day and I know that those people use that sidewalk on the north side. I see it. But I'm struggling a little bit with the fact that we're going to be at that $6.7, $6.8 million for the upfront capital cost. And then as we move down the road and the repairs need to be done, we're going to need to pay to have that repaired up to an accessible level anyways. So every section that we repair, it's going to be expected that we widen it anyway. So eventually down the road, we're going to end up with, you know, having spent another million, I would wager, to be more like option 1B, where you've basically replaced both anyways for the full cost. So I'm struggling with that a little bit, because I think if we have one good accessible sidewalk that's brand new, that is maintained, I think that is a good option. And I think that, I'm sure there would be some complaint about people having to cross the road, but I think that sometimes you do have to just cross the road to get to the sidewalk on the other side. I think it's not something that is super uncommon. So for me, at this time, I think I would still be in support of the staff's recommendation of option 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harding. Councillor Agenbar?
Thank you. Well, excuse me. It's interesting, the comments that I've heard today. I completely concur with my colleague, Deputy Warden Inslow, in respect to the issues that he's brought up. The huge one is safety. If you eliminate the north sidewalk, that's not going to eliminate people walking up and down the north side, heading in the east or west direction. All they're going to be doing is walking on the lawns that we're going to create, or the road. There's a lot of north-south crossing the road flow that would be necessitated with the removal of the north sidewalk. I know there's children that live on both sides, and I know that they go back and forth, to get to the other side. There's no question about that. But by not having that sidewalk there, right, when they're going to the playground or down to Jubilee Park or wherever they're going downtown, and not just the children, but elderly people as well, they're going to use that north side. They're not going to cross the street. By putting the three-way stop sign in at Bay Road, really all you're doing, Jim, is, Mr. Young, is moving the goalposts. So I refer to that section of the road when you're exiting Bridgetown going west. As soon as you pass Jubilee Park, I call it the Wild West, okay? Because that's when the pedal hits the metal, and the floorboard of the cars, the trucks, the transports, the buses, including, everything. And it's just a speed area that we've never been able to slow it down. We've put up the flashing light speed signs, the whole 9 yards. I actually approached you regarding the speed bumps a year ago, 6 months ago when I first started this job, and you assured me at that time that it was not possible to put speed bumps in because of the fire department and so on and so forth. So that's not an issue. All we're doing is we're going to move the speed zone. That's going to, instead of starting at Jubilee Park, it's going to now start after the three-way section. If it was a 4-lane road, it would be a drag strip from there, because people stop, they stop and they race. But it's just going to create, by the removal of the sidewalk, it's going to create more opportunity for pedestrian vehicle accidents perhaps, and it's just going to be less safe. And like I said, they're going to walk on that side anyway, whether it's on the grass or on the road. The ongoing maintenance that was speculated at being about $100,000 a year to maintain that north sidewalk, I say speculation. That sounds like an unreasonable amount of money to me, no disrespect to that, but those sidewalks have been there for a long time without any maintenance, so what's the difference? You said at the outset, Mr. Young, that the code to build new sidewalks is it has to be 5 feet, but it didn't say anything about existing sidewalks, because there's a lot of existing sidewalks in the town that are going to be that way for the next 40 or 50, it'll outlive everybody in this room. So I don't see that as a huge issue as well. I am certainly in favor of option 1A. I think option 3 is not realistic whatsoever because the sidewalks are in bad shape. But if you look at that word participation and the fact that everybody in every municipal community, federal, provincial, whatever, is trying to encourage more people to get out and walk and be, for health reasons and so on and so forth, by removing that north sidewalk, there's people that are just not going to do that, so especially the older people. So you're actually reducing the opportunity for that sort of thing. Option 2, as compared to option 1A, is you're going to spend $100,000 to take it away. Right? Option 2 is, if you look at the roadways and sidewalk section, is 2.1 compared to 2 for the 1A. So you're actually spending money to remove a sidewalk that's there that's being used. And as my esteemed colleague Harding suggested, that he drives that road and he sees people using that north sidewalk constantly. Fact is, there's probably more people using the north sidewalk than there is the south sidewalk. And I've had some of those complaints from some of the people that have read this as well.
Okay,
So
all right.
I guess I'm just maybe repeating myself, but I wanted to make it perfectly clear that I definitely do not support number 2, and I would hope that my colleagues here in the room would give it due consideration. Thank you.
Okay, so we have Councillor Cranton, Councillor Hare. I don't know who went up first, so I saw you both at the same time, so you can
Yes.
figure it out. Which, who?
Yes, you can.
Okay, Hare, and then Cranton. Sorry, Councillor Hare. But before... This guy's taking it out.
Yeah, just part of the law.
Councillor Hare.
I just want clarification from Jim. With option 1, there's no way we can maintain that other sidewalk without widening it.
Okay, so maintaining a sidewalk is different than reconstructing a section of sidewalk. So if we just maintain it, sure, we can maintain what we have. But if we have to cut out a section and put it back, that's replacement. And replacement must meet a new standard, which is what the CAO was mentioning before.
So maintaining it would be like putting a patch over it, and
Right.
replacement, and they actually differentiate that way. So the province looked at it and said, oh, you've dug a little too deep. No. So we could take part of the sidewalk out and replace it without making it wider.
A little section, yeah, but it's not practical.
No.
No, it's just a question.
Yeah, a little section, sure, you could, yes.
Yes,
But not 20 meters.
But it's not practical.
but not practical.
If you more than 1 or 2 sections, little tiny sections.
Yeah, I would like to see option 1, but if we're gonna end up, it just sounds like, as I've heard, if we go with option 1, it's just gonna end up being option 1B. Anyways, that's it.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Cranton.
Thank you, and thank you to everybody for their points so far. I was leaning between option 1A and option 2. Based on the dialogue, I'm leaning more towards option 1A. A couple points in regards to concerns of safety. Having lived in Cornwallis for years, I can remember many years ago when the municipality removed a crosswalk and the community chose to use it for 15 years after the fact, and maybe they still use it, and it's not a crosswalk. Councillor He probably knows which one I mean, or the area, because it's not there. So my point is that this would be a different conversation if there wasn't a sidewalk already there. But my observation of human behavior is I anticipate the folks would behave in the manner as described by Councillor Agenbar. People will still use it. If they don't, then they'll resort to jaywalking is what my concern is, which is why my initial question regarding the needs for crosswalks, existing or potential new ones. I just although I'm predominantly a numbers guy and practical guy, I do rely on gut, and my gut tells me that this is not a safe option to remove that as well. Getting back to numbers, option 1A is the more affordable option, and as was touched on, or Councillor Harris starting to touch on, I do think the savings between the two options, we could maintain that sidewalk for quite a while, for quite some time before it becomes an issue financially, like the savings from just maintaining it at the moment. If we maintain it in the manner that Councillor Hare was inquiring about. In regards to the replacement of sections, I feel like we're going to encounter that on any sidewalk anywhere, so that's something, I'm glad it was pointed out and explained, but I feel that's something that we're going to have to take into consideration at any time when we review operating budgets and plans for sidewalk maintenance. So for myself, I'm putting more weight on the safety aspect of it, and I also do feel like in the immediate future, it's also the more affordable option. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to go back to where I said I was going, which was going to, I will go to Councillor, actually I'll do Deputy Warden first, but then if you make it short, Councillor Longmire, and then Councillor Connell again. That would be your third time and last time. Go.
My third time?
Yes, no, you're the second
Just my
time.
second. Thank you. I just want to take this time to put an amendment on the floor. I would like to amend, give me one second. I'd like to amend the motion to read that Municipal Council authorize staff to proceed with the detailed design for Granville Street in accordance with the scope outlined in option 1A.
Thank you very much, Deputy Warden. Do we have a seconder for the motion? And we do. We have Councillor Alomar. And I'm going to refer to the 1A, which says maintain north sidewalk and construct new south sidewalk inside the utility pole. So, on this amendment, because they're going to keep me busy.
Yes.
Longmire, that's good. And Councillor Comments. Please, go ahead.
Thank you. It's hard for me to say that I'm not in favor of the amendment, but I'm going to explain simply the reasons why. It is how we show up in our education, and it is expensive on all counts to maintain, and I really do trust that Mr. Young and the team have thoroughly thought through all of which they've presented to us. A transition is always uncomfortable for people. New people are moving in all the time from other spaces and places, and they haven't been or had necessarily sidewalks on both sides of the roads. Certainly in my district, I'm safer in the ditch than the road. You know, when you think about eyes on a road, and transportation would probably say or suggest this, it is safer for us to look to one sidewalk than to be managing two. Because kids are playing on those spaces, right? And there's curbs. They can easily lose, as I said earlier, they can lose their footing and certainly fall into the road from a sidewalk. I would rather be watching one sidewalk than two. Well-marked crosswalks. We've failed to do that for a better of a decade now. You know, the paint, lifts, it's not visible. Certainly in different lit situations, daylight's different than nighttime. But those flashing lights that can indicate and allow us to proceed safely to the other side of the road, which would be a brand-new, accessible, meet all the needs for future that we know of currently, would be far smarter, certainly more economical. As we've heard the discussion around, a slice of the sidewalk lifts needs to be transformed, imagine that transformation then has to meet the accessible standard, and now you've got this little single path, now you've got this stretch that's wider, and, you can get into really some serious complications with people, walking, roller aiding with their four-wheel walkers, scooters. There's all kinds of traffic that's on those spaces. So, going from a single then into a patch of double wide or however the width is determined, right, by the accessible standard moving forward. Oh, I'm losing my truck. We need to learn the rules of the roads again. I'm not afraid that children, seniors, others cross a sidewalk, cross a crosswalk, if they are presented to them, well-kept, well-maintained themselves, right? We are to mind the traffic. We are trained as we get our license to do so. I would like to think that, even the policing opportunity there for education and awareness, all of these things we can lean on to help us navigate the changes that tend to be uncomfortable for people, but we can make it through it. I don't see us being able to run them up and down both sides, not reasonably. Would they play in the grass? Plant a tree. Give them something to prevent them from doing that. I know they grow up into the lines, but they can still be trimmed. I think my eyes as a driver, I would rather teach a child to cross the side. And we've got custodians, community custodians, I'm sure we could rally, who could be at those most busiest times of the day, going over for school and things like that to the accessible sidewalk. I'll leave it there. I don't want to take the floor up all day.
Thank you, Councillor. Should we pause for now and go through our public hearings? Or we're running over?
Probably.
Okay. We're going to pause for now for our public hearing meeting that's supposed to have started about 5 minutes ago. And we'll come back into council meeting after we have done our public meeting. Okay? Okay, thank you. All right. We'll see you after our public hearing. Mr. Young, thank you very much. And I do have your names on the list here. So we'll continue from there.
We had no recognition of a public hearing on our agenda.
It's in your box.
Well, I know, but it wasn't on the agenda.
It's not the agenda, it's a public hearing. You would have to be packaged.
That's just who's gonna do it. That's all I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I know.
So who speaks first? Okay. All right. Oh, I lost a couple people.
Started.
All right. We are about to start the public hearing. This is a development agreement application for today. I'd like to say welcome to the residents that are here to go through this public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to permit members of the public to make their views known to council concerning solely the application before council. This public hearing concerns a development agreement application for PID 05187471 Ben Finney Road in Margarettsville. All questions and comments throughout the public hearing are required to be addressed to the chair, which is me. The chair will provide an opportunity for the public input and will ask that person speaking identify themselves so that their comments may be recorded in the minutes of these proceedings, and that the person speaking identify if they are speaking for or against the application. Questions and comments from council members are asked to be held until all public comments is heard. All questions and comments throughout the public hearing are to be addressed to the chair. The development agreement application is from Mr. Jason Milner. And we will start with an information report from Madame Bontang, which will come up to the front and give us an overview.
Thank you. So the subject property, generally located on Ben Finney Road, Margarettsville, in the Annapolis County Planning Area, is within the Water Supply Protection Zone, particularly the groundwater supply zone. Well-filled areas were developed as municipal water supplies in areas like Lawrenceville, Bridgetown, Granville Ferry, and Margarettsville. The water supplies are sensitive. As such, lands that may affect the water quality are protected by the county, as informed by community interest and the Margarettsville Source Water Protection Plan. For this reason, the development of a single-unit residential use in the groundwater supply zone must be approved through a development agreement in accordance with Policy 5.3.2 of the Municipal Planning Strategy. A development agreement is a legal contract between the developer and the county, which outlines uses and prohibitions on the property. Staff is supportive of this application because the proposed development per the attached site and building plans, identified as Schedules B and C, and the development agreement does not pose a threat to the quality of water supplied to the public. The application is also consistent with the development agreement criteria and terms per Policy 7.3.4 of the Municipal Planning Strategy. Additionally, per the agreement, the developer shall adhere to the provisions of the uses prohibited in the water supply protection zones outlined in Section 5.5.10 of the Annapolis County Land Use Bylaw. The application was also circulated to the Municipal Department of Operations, GIS, and Building Inspection. It was also reviewed by external departments, including Valley Waste, Public Works, RCMP, Regional and Local School Board, and the local fire chief. These departments had no concerns with the final plans and application. Additionally, a public information meeting authorized by the Planning Advisory Committee was held on February 25, 2025 at the Margarettsville Fire Hall to review the application and respond to public questions. The 20 members of the public who attended the meeting were supportive of the application. As part of the requirement for a development agreement, the applicant has posted a notification sign on the subject property outlining the proposal and information about the public hearing. Notice of the development agreement has also been published on the county's website and mailed to property owners within 200 feet of the property. In conclusion, this development addresses a key community priority by creating a new residential building. It does not significantly impact the well-filled area, and future uses limited by land use bylaw continue to pose an acceptable level of risk. To achieve the county's first 2027 strategic priority, which is to invest in housing and housing infrastructure, having a good stock of all types of housing is critical to growing our community. Staff is supportive of the application per the plans and development agreement of a single-family unit on the subject property in the groundwater supply zone. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Okay, now I am calling for an oral presentation from the floor. I see that we have a list of 4 names here wanting to speak to the application. So the first person is Lorraine Saltzpike? Sorry.
Printing isn't good.
I should have looked. Come on up, Laverne.
Oh, I have to go up there.
Yes, please.
Here?
Yes. State
Madam
your
Warden?
name. State your name.
Yeah, I will. Madam Warden,
Yes.
councilors, staff, and members of the public. I'm Laverne Slonwhite. I live on Ben Finney Road, across from I was going to say Margarettsville Fire Hall, but across from the Margarettsville Water Utility, directly across from the pond.
Are you for?
I am for this, yes. And we are at this public hearing to learn about the installation of a home, 34 by 24, for Jason Milner's property, PID 05187471, on Watershed Zone GW3 on Ben Finney Road. Nearly 2 months since the Fire Hall public meeting. That's slow for a builder. A long, drawn-out process that shouldn't be, in my estimation, shouldn't be necessary, and it's expensive. Please think for yourself that you are one of us landowners on Ben Finney Road, okay? Regarding Jason's attempt to build a home here, we were invited by word of mouth to attend a public meeting at the Margarettsville Fire Hall, February 25th, 6 o'clock. That's when I discovered the new watershed zoning for Margarettsville. And I've lived across from the watershed since 1974. I'm old, okay? I've been there a long time. And that's approximately 50 years. These new rules are very restrictive. There's pages of them for homeowners on Ben Finney Road, especially above my property, which is the property in question. I'm wondering if Jason Milner had any idea these restrictions existed. I didn't know. Yes, there was a sign posted on Mr. Milner's property parallel to the highway. You drive by, do you look at a parallel sign? Not very much. Didn't take notice of it until after the fire hall, and I saw the sign there, so I took a picture of it. Now here we are with these rules stating what we can and cannot do with our properties.
Mrs. Slonwhite, I don't want to be disrespectful, but could you just make sure you talk only about this particular application for Mr. Milner? Not the rules, not everything else that might...
It's hard to talk about this property
if you're
here when the whole watershed is involved, okay? So I'm just going to keep going, and if you stop me, I'll go sit down, okay? I have this much. I did not know such new rules with this larger shed existed and were about to be adopted by council and the public, April 2024. I'm told, what public? Did Jason know? We didn't. We live on the road. Certainly not the landowners on Ben Finney Road. And Municipal Council is in place to notify and protect the landowners, including Mr. Milner. And about the Margarettsville Water Utility and the users as well as landowners within the watershed area. The utility users have the use of the water, but the landowners in the watershed area are paying the cost, as Mr. Milner is. Should we want to build as Jason does, we more than likely must have a development agreement involving the public process as today. The watershed, as it is zoned today, devalues his property and ours, but our taxes for him will remain the same. He'll pay a good tax as we do. And I'm wondering if you shouldn't consider lowering our taxes in the watershed area because the properties are devalued. In finishing, also, it's hard to talk about Mr. Milner without also mentioning the background of the agricultural land that's there. And the water supply involves many acres on the same side of the road. They till the land, big acreage there, nice agricultural land, planting, application of other materials so plants grow well. Forestry up on top of the hill, same side as the water supply. It's a large area, trees are cut, and they're changing that land from forestry to agriculture. In the zoning 5.5.10.5 GW, it states, "No person shall alter land levels, excavate land, fill in land, or remove soil on or from any land outside of a protected well heads in GW1 zone or water course set back within the LCR 1234 and the GW 12345 zones without first submitting a site grading and drainage plan." From a professional, I found out yesterday, I don't know if Jason had to have that, but an engineer, is what I was told, has to do this. And that's expensive. And I'm thinking, if he builds the house and all this agricultural land, forestry land proceed with what they're doing now, and his little property side by side like this, it doesn't make sense to me. And the highway acts as a berm for his property. It's higher. And floods occur down that hill in front of his property. And I can show you pictures of a flood. I don't know if the water utility is concerned about flooding or not, but my property flooded July 11th, and I have pictures to prove it. So, take a look overall at what is happening, and we are very concerned landowners, okay? And all the best to Jason.
Thank you very much, Madam White. Our next speaker is Anna Clark, Miss Anna Clark from Mrs.
Good morning, Madam Warden, councilors. Thank you so much for letting us speak this morning. My name is Anna Clark, and my husband and I live at 1468 Ben Finney Road in Margarettsville, and we are next door neighbors to Laverne Salon White and also to Jason and his partner. And we are in favor of him being able to excuse me, to use his land and build his house and be good neighbors to all of us up there. As Laverne said, and I concur with what she says, my husband and I were also very surprised to hear that this decision was made back in April to have the watershed bylaws. We were invited to a meeting way back in 2014 at the fire hall, and it was explained to us that things were going to be looked into, and everyone wanted a very safe area for the watershed. But we never, ever heard any more from that until we understood that there was going to be a meeting at the fire hall back on February the 26th. It was told to us that information was mailed out to us to let us know that changes would be made, but this never happened. And I'm thinking, perhaps if that had been done, maybe we wouldn't even have to be here today, because we all would have known what the rules were, and maybe we would have been invited to take part in the decisions that were made that now truly affect our homes, the homes and the land that we love. We have 78 acres up on Ben Finney Road, and we have been very, very good stewards of that. So has Laverne and her dear husband, and I'm sure Jason will as well.
So if I may again,
Yes, ma'am.
if you could just agree to speak on the reasons why you're here, that
Yes.
you do agree and you are for his development.
We do agree, and we are for his development.
So, and everything else, could we just not put it in there so we could get to the hearing?
If that is your wish, then I will...
I think you're going to give us basically this comparable to Madame Swanwhite's.
That's right.
So if we could just say that you agree with what she said and we can move on.
That's right.
Okay,
I thank you for your time.
thank you. I'm not being disrespectful. Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is actually Jason Milner, Mr. Milner.
Thanks for everybody being here today. I just have a few questions for the council. My name is Jason Milner. I'm the owner of the land. I just want to know when I'm going to be involved in this whole process. I've been left out of the process completely. I was promised to meet with Linda Bent and Jeremy Banks, and still to this date, I haven't met with anybody. And to discuss this agreement, to go over it, to talk about concerns that I have many questions. Unfortunately, my lawyer finally got back to me on Friday, and that took 6 months to discuss things with her, for her to properly investigate this case. And it has created some delays, and as everyone is aware, that lawyers are very busy, and it's hard to see them. Basically, I'm asking for more time, and I'm asking for cooperation with the council and the municipality to come up with agreement together. And I have a lot of questions about this agreement, and it was written in your favor. And yes, there's a lot of things in here. And I just have a couple of questions at the moment for council. So this is called a property, and what I have in my hand is that we actually own, and it is a residential subdivision that was approved by the county. The stamps are in place for septic approval and approval of this subdivision. So this is not raw undeveloped woodlot that's classified under your rules. It's not undeveloped. So the definition of property in the first place, I would like to know. And also, I have a request today. There's a lot of things that I need to talk about in this, which is probably not the right place to do this. And so what I'm asking for today is, excuse me, today I'm asking for a 50% property tax reduction in lieu of the restricted covenants, and in lieu of federal, provincial, and municipal control of the private lands within the watershed. And there's also lots of other things that I'd like to talk about. Another thing I'd like to talk about is can someone answer this question for me? Who is the stakeholder of the utilities? Is it municipality? Is it a private company? Is it private owners? Who's the stakeholder? So I guess this is not a time and place for this. Okay, well, I'm asking for cooperation with these documents. I'm asking for a meeting with somebody to help me with these. Unfortunately, my lawyer we've decided not to pursue litigation against you. It's not in my favor. A lot of research was done on this. But yes, it's not fair that my land has been taken over and restrictions have been put in place. Nobody wants restrictions on their land. Nobody wants a covenant. And it's not good in my favor if I go to sell the land, because no one is going to want to buy my land on protected watershed area. So, thank you very much for having me today. I'm not the greatest speaker. Thank you very much for your patience. I'm just asking for help. Apparently, this is at the final process. Yes, I was invited to Margaret's Fire Hall. I was invited to a meeting here, but I've had zero input whatsoever. And I'd like to be involved, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Hortle. Is it H-O-R-T-L-E?
Oh, that's me.
Okay. Would you like to come up?
I guess I'll take the opportunity, although I'm not a very good speaker as well, but since I'm here.
State your name and if you are in support or against the application.
My name's Jewel Horty. I'm Jason Miller's partner. We live together on my property, which is beside his property. I'm for his development, absolutely. Yes, I share some concerns with the last speakers and our neighbors here. I feel like Jason has been punished without any good reason. I feel like it's punishment enough, you know, the very high prices of applying for permits. And he's paid a lot of money, over $1,500 in extra expenses to go through this very complicated, lengthy process. I feel like there's enough sort of security measures in place as it stands, because there will be bylaws. There are bylaws. New ones that we will learn about eventually, I'm sure. I don't think he needs to have a covenant added onto his deed, because it does devalue his land should for any reason he decide to sell it. It decreases the desirability of his property, and he shouldn't be made to pay for that, as he already has paid for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Do we have any comments against the application from the floor? Any against the application? Or call for against the application? Okay, so we'll move on. It's time for the questions or comments from any council members that are here with us today. We will start with Deputy Warden.
Thank you.
Okay, for now, go ahead.
Thank you. First, I want to thank everyone that came to make a presentation. I know that takes a lot of time and energy, and you know, maybe a counselor, but I still don't like speaking in public all the time. So it takes a lot of courage to stand up and talk, so thank you. I'm just a little confused on this situation, because usually what happens when we get to this point, there's been interaction and engagement. So for me to learn that there really hasn't been engagement, I just want to find out more about that. But usually when we get to this point, the speakers that come are just either for it or against it. And it's usually quite cut and dry. So the amount of information that's provided on other things that's related to it, of course, like I know that I have a source water protection area in my district. But the reason that was put into effect was mostly due to the Department of Environment, because we have watershed within that environment, because Margarettsville has a water utility, which is managed by the municipality. But for me, I'm just confused because I want to support it, because I agree with it, and the fact that there's no one that came to even speak against it. We haven't received an email or anything going against it. But are we putting the cart before the horse if we're at this point and there hasn't been engagement? I'm just confused about that portion. So have we followed that? Can we ask that question?
Yes, so they were engaged throughout the development agreement process. I believe they are talking about the general engagement for the county-wide review.
Oh.
Yeah. To put them in the watershed area.
No, for sure. So, thank you for that. But in regards to the reason that we're here today, to approve this request, or don't approve it, to accept it, that process leading up to it with the development agreement, the county engaged and was working with the developer.
Yes.
Because from my previous experience, even on non-council side, I've never heard tell of the development not involved in the development agreement. So I was a little confused and concerned. So I'm just trying to focus on the thing at hand. I'm going to support this motion, or this thing as it come along, because I agree with it. Is it an inconvenience when you're in a ground source water? Yeah, it is. My two properties are in a source water zone. But I see it as a bit of a protection for the future. Do I have some restrictions that I can and cannot do with my property? Yes. Do I understand some of them? Yes. Do I personally feel that my properties, where they're at, is affected? That I wouldn't be able to sell it? I personally don't know, because I'm not within that thing, and we're not the ones that do the evaluations of the properties. So I just want to focus on this, so yes, I will support the thing as proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Warden Henslow, Councillor Crancher.
Yeah, I support the recommendation of staff for this application. Just to kind of sum it up, the conclusion in the staff report sums it up the best in that it does not significantly impact the well-feed area, and the future uses limited by the land use bylaw continue to pose an acceptable level of risk. And it also references about the priorities of raising housing stock, so I trust staff's judgment and recommendation. So I support it, but I too am admittedly somewhat confused by the comments of some of the speakers, particularly the request for more time to review it I support it, but I'm questioning whether the applicant is prepared to enter into the agreement based on some of his comments and his request for more time. I would have assumed, as Deputy Warden said, that by the time it got to us, it would be an agreement that the applicant would be prepared to move forward with. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I'm prepared to, I support moving forward.
Thank you. Any other comments for Councillor Connell?
I'm in the same situation as Councillor Granton, is that if the developer isn't ready for us to pass this so he can go on with building, then I don't know what our position would be, is just to postpone it or whatever, because the same as the deputy warden said, when something like this comes forward, we look at the for and against. We got nobody against it. As far as the applicant not knowing the process that went on for the last 10 years, because we've had water protection source planning in that area for the past 10 years. We've had a committee from Margarettsville meet over the years several times at the fire hall and actually the county bought a portion of land just below his property to protect the water supply. And that was all done through Department of Environment, giving direction to all municipalities to put a water protection plan around your water sources. So, I mean, it wasn't just talked about during the countywide plan. It's been talked about for the last 10 years about protecting that property. The gentleman that owned all the farmland was a big supporter of that. So, I mean, it's nothing new. We have several protected areas around our county that other people in our county, citizens own land and housing development. So, I mean, to ask for a discount just because you all of a sudden realize your property's in the water protection zone, it's not us just looking at one applicant. Like I say, we have several water protected areas in our county, and we have several citizens that own land within them watersheds. So that's a very hard ask. It's so I'm along with my colleagues. I was ready to pass this to get him going, but I mean, if he feels he needs more time, I mean, I don't know what else to do.
Thank you very much.
Just to clarify, the agreement is a standard development agreement. There's nothing in there complicated. It simply allows for a single-family dwelling, prohibits the storage, for the most part, of any type of commercial hydrocarbons or oil or products that could contaminate the watershed area. Other than that, he can use the property as he needs, whatever he wishes for. There's very few restrictions on it. It's the same restrictions that would exist in other watershed areas. If Mr. Milner wants to negotiate agreement, there's nothing to negotiate. This is as basic as it gets. If he wishes to have lower taxes, that's not going to be in this agreement. If he doesn't want any zoning or any restrictions on his property, as he's indicated, he wants to be able to do as he pleases, that's not going to be in this agreement. These are the rules we're living by today. And so if Council wishes to see the opportunity for this individual to build a house, single-family dwelling as designed here, then this is the path forward. If Council does not approve it, then obviously he cannot build a house on the property. But going forward, if he comes back with another application, it's going to be the same rules and conditions. There's nothing here that's complicated. There's nothing here that's out of the ordinary from any other application that would come forward in the future or would exist anywhere else in Nova Scotia.
Okay. So, I have Councillor Hare, Councillor Welch, and Councillor Longmire. And were you at the first? Did I miss you?
Yes?
Oh, sorry. Councillor Agambar is going to start, then Councillor Hare, Welch, let's try that again, and Longmire. Thank you very much. Sorry, Councillor Agambar.
Thank you. Well, I'm like everybody else, there's some element of confusion here. So basically, the recommendation here basically says that municipal council gives second and final reading to consider the development agreement application submitted by Mr. Jason Milner to erect a single-family dwelling. Well, it doesn't sound to me like he's actually submitted it if he's asking for some kind of an extension and doesn't agree with it. So how can we vote on something that...
He has submitted an application. This is the agreement that results from the application.
Okay,
The
so we...
application is ours, it's a legal agreement. We put the terms and conditions for what we want to protect the property. The property owner doesn't get to say, well, I don't want clause A, B, or C, because then it defeats the whole purpose of having the agreement. We have to establish the standards and the criteria of the agreement.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you. Who's next? I had you there. There we go. Councillor Hare.
Yeah, so we've given first reading. So this is like the development agreement is like a baseline development agreement. It's kind of standards. What we passed on first reading would be what anybody else would get. And there hasn't been any changes to it, and, you know, that isn't something that we change from person to person.
It does, yes, on occasion, depending on the nature of the property. If it's not a source water protection area, groundwater protection area, the rules and criteria may be different, yes.
And if we were to pass it today, there could be no more changes to it in the future. Just a question.
Is there any changes in the future?
The property says no changes unless both parties agree.
No change to the development agreement.
Yeah, I would say.
Remain in effect until discharged by the municipality.
That
Runs with the land, binding on them, their inheritance, successor or assigns. So legal agreement, like any other legal agreement.
Yeah, for the most part, unchangeable. So if we pass it today, there would be still room for Mr. Miller to back out? Or is it all signed off?
No, once we pass the motion, it's agreed to, he has to sign the agreement. If he doesn't sign the agreement, it doesn't
So
matter.
there's still, okay.
He has to
Yeah.
sign the agreement.
Well,
Okay. Next.
yes, it's basically what I want to know.
Okay.
Yep.
Councillor Welch.
I'm a bit confused myself today too, and I had a similar question as Councillor Hara had regarding this. I think that we can probably approve this today as it is, and then it's up to Mr. Milner as to whether or not he decides to proceed with the development of it. So us signing off today doesn't change whether or not that development actually takes place. My second thought around that is I think the county is doing exploration wells up there. Aren't we to change the type of water source? They're not, at this point, we're not looking at wells? Okay, all right, that's good to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Welch. Councillor Longmire.
I don't need to repeat what Councillor Welch has just said.
Okay.
And I also want to say thank you to our CAO, who as well explicitly read out all of the rule and such that we have to agree to with an agreement. And, you know, the recommendation, we're here for just that. And whatever goes on after that will be another discussion another day.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so if there's no other questions or comments from the floor, we will move on to the next step.
So pursuant to the Municipal Government Act 230, subsection 1 and 2, Council adopts entering into a development agreement by a motion after holding a public hearing. And pursuant to subsection 3 of the same section of the Act, only those council members present at the hearing may vote. After approval, an act shall be placed on the website outlining the right to appeal, which is 14 days. Only after appeal period passes or appeals heard by the board can council enter into the development agreement. The development agreement does not come into effect until the agreement is filed by the municipality in the Registry of Deeds at the developer's cost. And pursuant to the Act 228 subsection 2, council shall stipulate the period in which the agreement must be signed by the property owner. In this case, is 1 month. If rejected, the applicant also has 14 days to appeal. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madame Boateng. Okay, so we're going to take this time, and this concludes our business for the public hearing, and I declare the meeting adjourned. We will now return to our council meeting on this side, and I will defer to Deputy Warden that you need to.
I would like to amend the order of the day by adding development agreement application for PID 0518741, Ben Finney Road, Margarettsville, as under 7.4.
Thank you very
New business.
Correct. Everybody has that, 7.4. I need a seconder for that motion. Councillor Auctioneer, are there any comments or questions on that motion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Against no. Motion's passed, which means that we have added it onto our agenda. Okay. So, we'll take a few minutes break right now. Let's take 5 minutes, and we will return back to our council meeting. I'll pause this now. Ben, are we ready? Ben? Okay, let's resume our council meeting. We were at page 62.
Councillor Connell.
Granville Street roadway upgrade, and I had 2 councillors left to speak, Longmire and Connell, and I will have a third one, Will. And we are speaking on the amendment, which is that municipal council authorized staff to proceed with, with the detailed design for Granville Street in accordance with scope outlined in option 1A. That is what we are speaking on. So, Longmire?
I already finished, thank you.
Finished?
Yes.
So, Councillor Connell?
I cannot support the motion. For one thing, a lot of the argument to do it that way is safety. And I wish some people out of the community of Bridgetown would get out and walk the roads through Nicktoll, walk the roads through by the fire hall in Springfield. And they think their little road's a raceway. Well, join the many, many people that sits around our county and can tell you every road that's driven is a raceway. Most of our complaints come from the elderly, even myself, an elder person. But I try not to be a hypocrite, because you know what, I was 18 once too. They go by my house, they cross the train tracks, and it's a little hill and a mighty straight stretch, and she's just like a rocket when they go. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, whatever. I don't take that in consideration because they already have in option 2, they would have a brand new double wide sidewalk. Going into the town of Middleton, there's only one sidewalk on one side of the road for a long ways in. Going outside, past the hospital, there's only a sidewalk on one side. Going to the swimming pool, in Lawrencetown, which all the kids from the elementary school walk it during the summer to go to the swimming pool. They have one side sidewalk. Going all the way up to 201, one side sidewalk. I think that option 1A, if the community of Bridgetown wants to keep 2 sidewalks, figure it out, put it in their community rate. Because we need sidewalks in areas that are just as dangerous, that have no sidewalks. So I will not be supporting it. I think going to 1, getting the road done, getting the infrastructure money that's being put into the community, $6 million would go a long ways in our communities putting sidewalks in areas that are just as dangerous that have no sidewalks. So I think that's quite a defeat to have a brand new road and a brand new accessible sidewalk. So I will not be supporting the motion.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Welch?
Well, where to start? Covered a lot of ground. With option number 2, I'm thinking we're gonna like...
We're on the 1A.
Yeah, we're on 1A.
Yeah.
I know,
Okay,
I'm kind of
okay.
stuck.
Just going to remind you.
Okay, if I can speak to 1A. It's a bit of a hybrid. Stick with me. Is it possible for us to put in the south side sidewalk, but retain the north sidewalk until a point where it just ages out and then it just gets turned into lawn? And that way the transition period is somehow more agreeable as opposed to it all happening at once.
Just constantly get complaints.
Like, I don't know what the state of that sidewalk is. Is it still usable? Is it still passable? To a point where it becomes not cost effective to repair it, and at that point we just remove it. And that way everyone's kind of used to using the south side sidewalk at that point.
Is it,
I don't know if that's part of the amendment though.
is it a nice smooth sidewalk? No.
No.
It
Did
isn't?
somebody trip and fall and break it tomorrow, this afternoon?
It could happen.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's not like you could just replace a little piece and everything's good, it's the whole
Okay.
sidewalk.
And what has been our yearly budget on maintenance there, ever?
When they have a major problem, we fix it.
Okay.
And
But not as far as
Public Works
taking
does it
care of
themselves.
undulations and stuff, it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my problem with, if I could, just for a moment, speak about option number 2, is it's just going to turn into looking like a speed trap. Like, we're going to lose all those trees, that intimate experience that you have when you come into the community with all the trees hanging over. If we put sidewalks on both sides to accessible code, it's going to change the whole feeling when you enter into that village. I understand the safety aspect of it, and I'm trying to find a hybrid there. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Councillor. And Deputy Warden, you're going to take it for the closing?
Sure, yeah. Was there anyone else?
Nope. I think he
question.
just knocked it, stuck in there. Okay.
I'm sure there's others that want to close this, but I just wanted to say a couple things. So, I understand everyone's side of this, 100%. But it seems like, in some ways, we're comparing apples to oranges with some of it. Is there good points? 100%. So, by comparing a road that is owned by the county to roads that belong to the Department of Highways, like in Nicktaw, different places like that, that's not a comparable. We don't own that road. There's nothing we can do with that road. And are there other places that need a sidewalk? 100%. But this case, we have sidewalks. We're looking at updating the infrastructure we have there. You know, that's an apples to oranges comparison. Would I disagree with the fact that that sidewalk on the north end is completely unaccessible or unusable? I wouldn't agree. Is there sections that need some repair? Yes, especially where we'd be putting in the three-way stop at Bay Road, where it goes down into our storm drain that's there that is just a mess. I don't even know what they were thinking when we did it. Does that part need to be repaired? 100%. But I just want us to focus on comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges. Are there places that only have one sidewalk? Yes. Have they always had one sidewalk? Yes. Middleton is not within, it's in with our municipality, but it doesn't fall under our jurisdiction. Anyway, it's been a long day. They've only had one sidewalk. This is a situation where we have two existing sidewalks, and what we're asking for is a hybrid approach. In an ideal world, would I like to see the best of the best? Not just because my district's involved, but I'd like to see the best of the best everywhere. And I just don't want this to turn into a Bridgetown issue where it's, oh, well, Bridgetown this, Bridgetown that. We just got to look at it for what it is and compare apples to apples. If it was in a different district, we're having the same conversation. If it was in Cornwallis Park, now that one's a little bit different because there's no area right there in Cornwallis Park.
So, not that I want to interrupt. Get back to the...
Yeah, I'll get back to the point. So, the reason why I put forward the motion for amendment to 1A is it seems like a good hybrid approach that would be supported by the community, and I think is personally my preferred choice for what it is. Up front, it is cheaper. In the forward, could it cost more? Yes. But we got to look at what the actual definitions of repair versus renovate. I work within this construction world, and if we're just repairing a section, whether the section is 10 feet or 15 feet, we're not doing the whole road or the whole sidewalk. That is a repair. And it'd be nice to look into, do we actually, if we had two sidewalks, even if we touch the one that isn't part of this, so the north one, do we have to have both sides accessible? Is it actually required to do that? That's my question, and I don't think we do. So that would be one of my questions. If we don't need two accessible on both sides,
My God, I can't imagine.
just hold on. I think that makes better sense. If we don't have to have them, then when we actually do a repair, we just repair what's existing, the same width, the same everything. We just fix it. And for the comments that we fix things constantly, well, the sidewalk on Centennial was messed up for years, and we never fixed it. Our fix at that time was to spray paint it orange.
The bump,
The bump fix.
still there.
It's finally fixed now.
Amazing.
It only took 6 years, but our fix for that was paint it orange. And no matter how many times people fell on that and went to the hospital, it's crazy for us to say, oh, well, this is what we do. We have sidewalks through Bridgetown, through Cornwallis Park. So this discussion is going to continue to come up. But I just think that, in my opinion, this hybrid approach does what we really, what I'd like to see. And without repeating myself, I'm going to stop there.
Thank you. Councillor Hare, and then Councillor Agambar. And Cranton.
I think Mr. Young may have something to...
And Mr. Young?
Okay, no.
I don't get repeats.
Thank
I
you.
don't want repeats.
No.
I don't want repeats.
No,
Yes,
it's good.
Mr. Young?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Yep, I'm fine.
Okay, Councillor Hare.
Just two really quick questions. One, so option 1A says 67, option 2 says 68. In your opinion, is option 2 going to be more cost effective in 10 years' time?
What they costed in option 2 was physically removing.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, I would advise them to fill it with topsoil and seed it.
Yeah.
So the difference between, option 1A and option 2 wouldn't be significant, as it's showing up here, I don't think.
And in the long run, option 2 would then be cheaper.
Option 2 would be cheaper just from the sheer maintenance of staff and application and looking after it long-term.
And my second question, with option 1A, is there an option just to leave the sidewalk in the condition it is, just as was kind of stated, just we let it go as long as we can, and then it comes out? Is that an option within option 1A?
There's an option there, but we have to make it passable, or we're just liable.
I was going to ask that question.
The idea of accessibility, people where the small sidewalk is, or where there's not going to be any sidewalk, they could be, if we only put an accessible sidewalk on one side, they might have accessibility issues, they need the bigger sidewalk. So regardless where people live, whoever moves into a house may have issues long-term, or, over the life of where they're living, where they need access to accessibility. I think the municipality is doing a good job by providing that, beginning that process of installing an accessible sidewalk on our main roadway. And for council, just to understand, I did send a notice out to highways when I had a break here, to actually see what they would permit us to do on Highway 1. Since they tag us with the owner of maintaining, paving, and everything else, the road, can we take it and actually manage the road the way council would like to see done?
Did they respond?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Young. Councillor Hare? Thank you. Councillor Hagenbauer?
Yeah, I'll just try to be brief.
Okay.
So I don't see this as the choices between these two as a contest between communities, there's some that have sidewalks and some that don't. I see this as a safety issue for the residents of the town of Bridgetown. As far as the comment about adding it to the area rate, well, we're already paying an area rate, and we're paying increased money in the area rate now as residents to help support part of this project in terms of the sewer upgrades and so on and so forth. Councillor Welch's comment about the north, like a hybrid situation where just leave it the way it is now, which is already there, and it's going to facilitate a lot more people using it and eliminating the issue of crossing the road all the time for both the young children, elderly, or anybody else, I think is a good comment, and it wouldn't cost anything. To choose option 2 over 1A at this point is going to cost an extra $100,000 right up front. That north highway also, or the north sidewalk was replaced 20 years ago. The south sidewalk wasn't. So it's in better shape than the south, and I don't think there's a sidewalk in the whole, what used to be the town of Bridgetown that has sidewalks where there's not issues with sidewalks in terms of somebody tripping over a bump or a rise in the spring when it raises. A brand new one that we just lived with for 6 years, as Councillor Inslow said, on Centennial Drive. So those issues exist. I don't think that's going to be eliminated as far as the extra maintenance is concerned. Well, we're paying for that in the area rate anyway. Good point about the trees. When you drive into Bridgetown now, I'm just asking everybody out here that's on this council that's going to vote, is just don't vote for the numbers and so on and so forth. Look at the whole aesthetics of the whole thing. It's a beautiful tree-lined street that I don't think we should change any. And just to reiterate at the end, it's going to cost $100,000 more to choose 2 over 1A right now, and I don't think it's going to change the fact that people are still going to walk in that grassy area. There's going to be a pathway from people walking up and down there if we put grass in there now. So I say just leave it. It's not, in the long run, in the short term, it's not going to cost us any more money to leave it, and it does appease the people that live there. So I would implore you to think about that when you're making your vote for this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Crankin?
Just a couple brief points. Just like to point out that the discussion between the two, comparing the two options, is about taking a sidewalk out. It's not about putting a sidewalk in where there is no sidewalk. So, yes, there's a lot of good examples of areas that don't have one. I don't consider that apples and apples. That's apple and oranges. We're talking, it's not the same thing to not put a sidewalk in as it is to take out an existing sidewalk. It's a different discussion. And in the areas where you didn't have one, if you did have one, would you be in favor of removing it? The other thing between the two options and I already touched on my concerns about it, I think people will use it anyway, but between the two options, option 1A is $135,000 less. So from the other perspective, option 2 is $135,000 more, and in my opinion, you end up with less. You actually have less sidewalks, and it costs you more with less. If we weren't doing the road or the water or whatever and removed all the non-variable stuff, if we came and said there was a safety concern or issues with maintaining that sidewalk, and we were just talking about the sidewalk and somebody proposed, hey, for $135,000 you can rip that sidewalk out and not have to worry about maintaining it, would we be in favor of that? I wouldn't be, because I'd be spending money, I view it as spending money for less, and there's nothing really in the report that suggests that you're going to save money long-term, and if you do, it would be quite a long ways down the road. So in short, we're not discussing putting a sidewalk in, we're discussing taking a sidewalk out, and whether you're prepared to spend more money to take something out. And that's how, best way for me to sum up.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Okay. So I will reread the amendment.
Warden, sorry.
Oh, yeah?
Can I just ask for clarification on one tiny word?
Yeah.
Liability. If I could speak through you, Warden, to Mr. Young. Who owns the liability on those sidewalks? If someone were to, let's say we repair the north side, and we just keep it as a simple little path that's not accessible, and we patch, let's not call it repair, because I'd have to have a much more expanded definition of repair, because does repair mean cut up, rip out, and then have to go wider to meet accessibility standards, right? And I suspect that that's the right answer, that it would have to be. So to me, it adds a level of confusion for people to expect that both will meet the standard, which they clearly won't. And so then who owns that liability if someone trips, falls, if a wheeler walker can't pass then from a single path and bumps over something and falls into the road?
Just like today, we own the sidewalk.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so I will reread the amendment. That municipal council authorized to proceed with the detailed design of Granville Street in according with scope outlined in option 1A, which is to maintain the north sidewalk and construct new south sidewalk inside the utility poles. All in favor of the amendment signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Those against the amendment signify by saying no.
No.
That is a draw. Motion lost. Okay, so we're back to the main amendment. The municipal council authorized staff to proceed with the detailed design for Granville Street in the accordance with scope outlined in option 2. Option 2, if we leave it as is, remove, is there a question?
Hold on a second.
Yes,
I'd like to see a show of hands if I could on that vote again, because I thought it was 5-4. I might be wrong.
Did the warden vote?
I voted,
You did?
yes,
Against it?
yes,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome. So the option, if it stays as it is in option 2, in the motion, is to remove north sidewalk, grass over, and construct new south sidewalk. If that's what you want in option 2, it stays like that. Are there any comments, questions on that one? All in favor? Oh, okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor.
I do agree with Councillor Aguilar. I think people are going to continue to use that side regardless of whether it's a sidewalk or a grassy area. And I guess the question is, I guess the liability still falls with us. If they're riding a bike there, or if it's muddy and they're using it.
No.
If the sidewalk's gone.
Then the sidewalk's the option, right?
That's right.
Okay, okay. That's all my wonder.
Do you have your answer to your
I
question?
do, yeah, thank you.
Came from 3 different directions there. Councillor Hagenbach.
Along with what you were saying there, Councillor Welch, they may not be walking on the grass, they'd be walking on the road.
Then that's their liability.
I walk by my house, goes on the road.
I have to walk in the ditch.
Let's get back to this quickly. Option 2 is as is. Remove north side, grass over, and construct new south sidewalk. All in favor of the motion signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Against, say no.
No.
Motion passed.
That's a tough one.
Okay. We are on page 73. This is the staff report. Thank you, Councilor. Thank you, Mr. Young. I don't know what page you
Okay, what page are we on?
Prepared from our CAO. I need a mover of this motion on page 73, Councilor Harding.
I move that council authorize a paid leave of absence for up to 3 months for Councillor Carrie Ann Parsons Saltzman for personal reasons.
I need a seconder, Councilor Longmire. Do we have any discussions on the motion? Deputy Warden?
I just want to say I think it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
I just want to say I support it and I think it's the right thing to do.
It certainly is. Oops. Any other comments? Questions? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Against, no. No, thank you. On page 75 to page 85, you will see, oh, can I say this first?
I added.
Oh, yes.
We added the,
7.4.
Oh, yes. Now, where are these? On this is 7.4, regarding the public hearing. There is a motion. Deputy Warden,
thank you.
you read the motion.
I move that pursuant to the first reading given on March 18th, 2025, in accordance with the recommendation for the approval from the Planning Advisory Committee, and after holding a public hearing thereafter, Municipal Council gives second and final reading to consider the development agreement application submitted by Mr. Jason Milner to erect a single-family dwelling on PID 05187471, Ben Finney Road, Margarettsville, in the groundwater supply GW3 zone of the Annapolis County Land Use Bylaw.
Seconder? Councilor Hare? Any discussion on the motion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Against, no. Motion passed. Okay. The next is on page 75 to page 95 of all the motions and how they are tracked and where they're at the moment. And thank you for providing that. The number 9 is Councillor Comments. We are at 12:06. That is our first thing at 1:30. Everybody,
So do Councillor Comments and break?
I believe so. Okay, Councillor Comments. District 1 is absent and District 2 will be...
Yes, I'll keep mine half short. I'm sure a few others could take up my time. I believe the planning going on at the East End is going fairly well, and I, as per usual, keep your eyes and ears out for any development, for anybody listening, East End planning in the future. Other than that, as we roll into spring, a lot of our recreation and other events are going to be coming out in full force. So I attended the breakfast at the Port George Rec Hall, and many of them more to come. And expect to see me and all our trails across District 2 and the rest of the county, and perhaps even out in the bay off of Port George in my little boat. I hope to see more people out.
Okay, so District 3.
That's me. I'm going to be very brief because I know that we're pressed for time. So I just want to say welcome to everyone. And I don't know what we're doing for weather. It continues to be this false summer, false spring. We have no idea what's going on. I know that in my household, it's causing a lot of conflict on should we or should we not plant anything. So the argument's still out on that. There's just a couple things I want to touch on that's happening within my district that I feel the community should be aware of and would be interested to attend. This Thursday at 6:30, the Bridgetown Area Chamber of Commerce is hosting its AGM at Junction 16. Anyone that's interested to attend, please feel free to reach out to the Chamber of Commerce. That way they make sure there's enough snacks and goodies there. As well as any members that have a business within the Bridgetown area, which encompasses up towards Lawrencetown as well, are invited to come out and join as a member. We also have a very important housing meeting with the local nonprofit that's coming later on today to make a presentation. The meeting in Bridgetown to discuss different housing options for this nonprofit is the 23rd of April at 7 p.m. at the Legion. Also, something that started within my district, which come off the Arlington Forest group, is the Sabre Old Forest AGM on the 24th of April at 7 p.m., but it's at the Centerley Community Hall, as well as the Clarence Community Club Pork Supper is finally starting again. So we know that summer's starting, and so the first pork supper will be at the Clarence Community Church, and I forgot to write down the actual day, but please feel free to reach out and read the Bridgetown Reader for all your local news and gossip. And the last thing, I've attended all of the fundraisers so far, so I want to shout out to this as well. The Port Lorne Volunteer Fire Department continues to host fundraising activities, and there's going to be a lot more to come. So this is to fundraise to pay for the remainder balance on their new fire truck that they've purchased. They've had a lot of good activities between craft shows and line dancing, and they had a dance and movie nights and all types of things. So they're really community engaged and raising money. So I ask people to keep your eye out on that. I know that they're sharing it sometimes last minute because we're dealing with volunteer organizations that when people can volunteer their time, then they get it rolling. As well as another community group in Port Lauren, the Port Lauren Community Hall, Fundy Hall, which is almost adjacent across from the fire department. They're having a fundraising yard sale on the 27th of April from 9 to 3. And I just want to speak a little bit about this organization. There's many organizations within my district that are huge community drivers. But I do want to shout out to this organization that continues to see the need in the local community and step up to help, where they were able to make adjustments to their building to make it open year-round, which has been a huge change for that community, because we do have people in that area that are well below the poverty line and are using that as a warming station or a get-together for their families or hosting a Thanksgiving dinner, as well as people utilize that facility for their water. We all know from discussions of Margarettsville and stuff where on the North Mountain we have challenges sometimes keeping water in people's wells. So this organization has a very good well, and they open it up to their local residents for donation to get water from the spigot. And they were able to winterize that so you can actually have it year-round, which was something that was lacking before. So I just wanted to give a shout-out for the hard work that volunteer group has put together and continue to keep up the good work. Thanks.
Thank you. District 4.
Greetings from District 4. The last few weeks been busy with phone calls, emails, and some community meetings. Still a wide range of variety of topics, and still anything from property assessment to parks and playgrounds. I just want to say I am looking forward to the upcoming public meetings on the boundary reviews, and I think it's important to recognize and say thank you to the staff for undertaking the staff of booking and scheduling 22 meetings in a short time frame, so kudos to the staff on that. The events are starting to open up. There's been continually events all winter at the Granville Ferry Community Hall, and I've noticed that for the ones that close in the winter, the Granville Center Hall, the Moshell Hall, and Belle Isle all have started advertising events on their social media pages. And I suspect that Round Hill and Tupperville Community Halls have as well, or will be soon. I did one of the more funner parts of the job and went and volunteered for spring cleanup at Bishop Park in Round Hill. It was one of the few days where it was nice out on the day, and a lot of people were doing the spring clean out. So we got stuff out by the road to pick up, and we helped put up the ball field signage and just clean up garbage and things like that. It was a great way to meet some new people, and I just want to say it's also really nice to see when you see volunteers in that little area that really take ownership of that park and take a lot of pride in the appearance and upkeep of the park. I hosted my first Coffee with Your Councillor community event at the Granville Ferry Community Hall just last week. I had 13 residents show up, which for a Thursday afternoon I thought was a good turnout, and I will just say it was all positive. 13 positive people show up. And again, that Granville Ferry is a very tight-knitted community, so they all walk there and shared, just concerns around just safety, sidewalks, crosswalks, things like that, and they really enjoyed learning a little bit more about what I've been up to and what we've been up to. And they actually got emailed back from some of the folks from the hall, just reiterating their appreciation for making myself accessible. So I'm pleased with the result, and I hope to be able to do a similar thing in the Tupperville Round Hill area later this spring. And I'll wrap, and two things I do want to point out, and these came from the people, and one person wanted to make sure, hey, it's important to speak positive. So the citizens wanted to point out that they were very pleased with the community events guide that has come out, and I'm sure we've all heard positive feedback, but they wanted to ask me on their behalf to thank county staff for the work and the improvements they made to it, and similarly, they wanted to pass on positive feedback to staff on the new website, and that they were the ones that use it say it's a great improvement over the old one. So that, and in closing, I just want to wish everyone a happy long weekend this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're right, that's positive thinking for our staff. They do good work, they work hard. Thank you. District 5?
Good afternoon from District 5. I'm going to jump right in. Lots happening in District 5, so many things to celebrate and so many great events to mark on your calendars. First, I want to put out a huge shout out to the endless volunteers who continue to make the community halls and recreation centers in District 5 a true success. Both Brian Ord and myself met with Parkers Cove Baptist Church Recreation Center to discuss the possibility of considering a comfort station. They recently held a meeting a few days ago and have welcomed the opportunity to move forward with the necessary work in order for their recreation center to be recognized as this comfort station for Annapolis County. This is exciting news. They have a beautiful recreation center that will provide such amazing support for their surrounding communities. Volunteers that I want to recognize at this time, because this is an important month for us recognizing them: Darren Robinson, Perry Hamilton, David Gregory, Waldo, Keith Guest, Ed, and Angie Mullen. Thank you all for everything that you are doing to make this amazing work possible. We recognize all of you for your volunteer efforts now and throughout the year. Youngs Cove Hall and Recreation Center, they have recently made a significant purchase of an AED unit. They have been actively fundraising and felt that this was the perfect purchase for their community and surrounding areas. A wonderful demonstration on how to use the AED was provided by Stephanie, who has recently become certified through Braveheart for CPR, AED, and first aid training. She provided a seamless demonstration last Saturday and answered questions so that all in attendance felt confident in their ability to use this life-saving device. Volunteers to acknowledge Linda Doyle, Allison Warwick, Tracy Bully, Barb Rafuse, Angela Holliday, Ray Hudson, and so many more that join them on the team efforts in that community. Youngs Cove up-and-coming events jam session Friday night, April 18th, starts at 7. Bring a snack and small donation. Exercise classes have begun, and they will continue following Easter. They are Monday mornings, 9:30 a.m., $5 for hall members, $10 for non-membership. Coffee mornings are always at 10:30 Monday morning, so you can stay and fuel up after you've worked out. Ukrainian Easter egg painting on Saturday, this Saturday, April 19th, 2 classes. Registration is needed, 902-665-5133. Community Safety with Sharon Elliott, April 24th, 6:30, no charge at the Youngs Cove Hall. First aid course offered May 3rd, all are welcome, but limited space. It is $100 per person to take all levels to be able to supply the need for CPR, AED, and first aid training, and that will happen on, as I said, May 3rd at 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Food for Shore, wow, partnership with Youngs Cove Hall. They will now prepare food there in the kitchen, and Tracy Bully, Janet, Graham Smith, Karen Hamilton to deliver home-cooked meals once a week to community members from DeLapse Cove to Port Lorne at no charge. Endless thanks to them for taking on this necessary need. Parkers Cove, Bell's Blessing Pantry, providing food and so much more. Thank you, shout out to Deborah McMillan and Cindy Thibodeau, along with the team behind them, to make this a success. Mindy Titus, citizen from Victoria Beach, has knit so many different items that will provide also support for this effort. We thank Cindy for her donation. The fundraiser for the Bell's Blessing Community Pantry is located at 4841 fundraiser, stocking up for the pantry because it serves a great need, May 17th, 9 to 2. Lower Granville Hall, 3551 Granville Road, dates to mark on your calendar. Clothing exchange, April 26, 10 to 2. Steve Scaft, writer and storyteller, talks on abandoned roads of Nova Scotia, May 1st at 7 p.m. Seed saving talk with Dr. Nikki Clark, May 3rd, 1 to 2 p.m. Mad Hatter Tea, May 11th, 2 to 4. Tickets are $10. If you would like to wear a fancy Alice in Wonderland themed costume or hat, that would make it really exciting. Come and join along. Food for Shore with a team of supporters as well who will be delivering those meals up and down the Granville Road to Victoria Beach. These people are making a huge difference. So much success with the plant sale last weekend. Seeds, plants, swaps and sales, guidance around planting, huge turnout. People traveled all the way from Middleton. Endless thanks to all that made this a true success. The people that I would like to recognize are Carrie Roos, Elaine Burgeon, Andy Reardon, Marianne Cormo, and Nikki Clark. The Partners Co-Funding Thread and Thimble Club event this, April 26. Meet and greet Barani LeBlanc, Acadie, Annapolis candidate for the Liberal Party, April 26, 2025 at 11:30 to 1 p.m. Bring your questions. This club has several dedicated volunteers as well. Debbie Oliver, Sheila Robinson Jackson, Thelma Lewis, Ardith Oliver, and Iva Clayton. This is a very important month, and it is a month where we do celebrate our volunteers. I want to take the opportunity today to say a sincere thank you for all of the hard work, fundraising, brainstorming, grant writing, organizing, hosting special events that go on around this district. On behalf of District 5, I celebrate each and every one of you today and every day. Bayside Farms, I'm going to finish up, located at 1126 Mackenzie Mountain Road, a gem for all in-season fruit and veggies. Stop by, you won't be disappointed. Always spray-free without pesticides or herbicides. I also want to say a huge shout out to the county staff. I couldn't be the councillor I am without each and every one of them. They acknowledge you when you walk in this building. They provide you with so much guidance and support. The community events booklet along with the Upper Clements Trail, these are beautiful additions to allowing us to promote this amazing Annapolis County. Lots of exciting events coming up. I'll close by saying congratulations to my own son, Max Longmire, promoted to corporal yesterday. He is still in Comox training, and my daughter Gracelyn, who has successfully, as of this hour, completed her final exam in law at Dalhousie. With sincere gratitude for the County of Annapolis, Lynn Longmire. Thanks. Sorry.
Congratulations. Thank you. You did that in record time.
59 seconds.
Okay, we are in District 6.
Greetings from District 6. As a member of this community, I'm deeply committed to supporting initiatives that foster sustainability, enhance local economies, and strengthen the bonds within our neighborhoods. Community pantries, farmer markets, and community gardens each play a critical role in this vision. Community pantries, for instance, are more than just places to access food. They're powerful symbols of generosity, support, and resilience. They offer a lifeline to individuals and families facing tough times, ensuring access to basic necessities while promoting dignity, security, and mutual aid. Similarly, farmer markets serve as vital parts of our local economy, providing farmers, artisans, and local businesses the opportunity to connect directly with consumers. These markets not only offer fresh, locally grown produce and handmade goods, but also promote sustainable practices and reduce the environmental impact on food transportation. Supporting them means investing in our local producers and helping our small businesses thrive. Community gardens, too, are invaluable. They offer people the chance to grow their own food, learn about sustainable agriculture, and enhance the beauty of our shared spaces. More than that, they are places of learning, collaboration, and connection, where relationships and a sense of shared purpose are cultivated alongside vegetables and flowers. Together, these three initiatives form a strong foundation for a healthier, more sustainable, and more connected future. They empower individuals, nurture local businesses, and strengthen the fabric of our community. I'm proud to support these efforts, and I encourage everyone to get involved, whether it's donating to a pantry, shopping at a local market, or digging into the soil of a community garden. We each have a role to play in building a vibrant and resilient place to call home. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ross. District 7.
Thank you. Well, greetings from District 7. First, let me say that I have it on good authority that there will be a spring this year. I'm just hoping it'll be soon. So, on to my report. The Annapolis County Sports Hub in Bridgetown is a buzz of activity getting ready for a very, very busy spring and summer events calendar, which kicks off hosting the districts, the regionals, and the provincial track and field meets all in the month of May. ACOS, the Sports Hub Committee, has partnered with the Bridgetown and Area Chamber of Commerce to ensure that our area communities are properly showcased and that the local businesses and accommodations are prepared for the thousands of athletes, guests, coaches, and media in attendance, will be in attendance. Eastlink Television will be actually broadcasting live from the Sports Hub for the provincial championship, and I'm told they have an entourage of over 40 people themselves. So this is a huge event that's coming to our community, Annapolis County, I speak to. Besides the major event that the Sports Hub is expanding, the Sports Hub is expanding with more local and regional groups and events, including a new under-12 flag football league with 7 events planned for the spring. That's big. Also, the Hub will be the home field venue for the Yarmouth Consolidated High School Boys and Girls Rugby events with 7 or 10 events throughout the summer, or this spring. The ACOS committee is seeking volunteers for Cleanup Day, May the 3rd, to prepare for the onslaught of all the folks that are coming for these regional meets, as well as volunteers who wish to come and be part of parking attendance for the May 23rd, 24th, 30th, and 31st track and field meets. The Bridgetown Lawn Bowling Club are holding their online auction, which actually just started yesterday, and it'll run until Friday, May the 2nd at 5 p.m. sharp. And lastly for that, the Bridgetown Legion online auction fundraiser runs from noon May the 3rd until 8 p.m. on May the 31st. I just had a couple of quick additions. I attended the Centerville Community Hall AGM, and they had a very, very positive 24-25 year, and elected, of course, a new executive for this year coming up. They managed to complete several important improvements to their community hall, and most importantly, they have now been accepted and are officially a comfort station for that area through the help of the community, of the council, with grants and so on and so forth. So that's really good news. And finally, the Paradise Community mailboxes are scheduled to go in this week after 3 months of not having a mail outlet. So that's good news. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Councillor. District 8.
Yeah, good afternoon from District 8. I hope everyone's ready to enjoy a long weekend, spend some time with family and friends. I know there's lots of events going on throughout the county for the upcoming Easter holiday. I'll be at the Fort Grounds with my family for the giant Easter egg hunt on Saturday. We go every year, it's a great time. I might even get lucky and find a chocolate or two that's left over after the kids run through. I'd like to say thanks to all the volunteers that make these great events happen all across the county. It's one of the things that make our area really special. So thanks to all the volunteers out there. I know it's a lot of time and effort. So in the district, I attended a meeting with BREDS, which is the Bear River Economic Development Society, in their building in Bear River. They own the building that has the Myrtle and Rosie's Cafe, Grandma's Store, and they've got a visitor information center in there as well. They filled me in on what they've been working on and what their plans are moving forward. I was very impressed with how much they do to try to help local businesses in that area. They're actually working on renting a space and helping a local barber open up shop in the building, which is going to be great for that area because they need something like that there. So that'll be really good. And I was impressed at their meeting because the discussion was all about what can we do to help people be successful with their small businesses, which I thought was really for such a small group and such a small building. I was impressed how they were kind of working as like an incubator for small business there. That was nice to see. I also attended the AGM for the Foresters Hall, which is in Clemensvale. They elected a new board with a mix of returning and new members. They had quite a few new members step up as well. So they're making some really good things happen there. They've got a homeschool help group that operates out of the upstairs hall. And I was speaking to Claire, she's the teacher there, and she helps parents and students who have chosen to go the homeschooling route. And she takes students from all over the county. She says she's got people coming from as far as Middleton to come down, and she just offers some support to parents that are maybe struggling with curriculum items or anything like that. So I guess she's quite busy and things are going well. I gave a quick update while I was there, just about some of the things that we've been doing on council, some of the budget stuff that we had in there, just to give them a quick update. They were very thankful for that. And Minister Jill Balser was also there, so she was able to field some questions, and we actually sat down and had some really nice discussions afterwards over a delicious potluck supper, which was great. So thanks to the board for allowing me to attend that. I've rescheduled my Coffee with Your Councillor session in Maitland Bridge. As you might remember, I had to cancel it because they were having renovations done. So that's now going to be May 10th at the Maitland Bridge Hall from 11 till 1 or later. So anyone that's in that area that has questions or just like to sit down and have a chat, please come on by. I just wanted to mention a couple events coming up. May 10th is going to be a spring market at the Foresters Hall starting at 10 a.m. Lots of crafts, baked goods, things like that. Saturday, April 26th, Milford Hall is doing their Maple Fest. So it's a supper, very good. They're doing a ham with a maple glaze, which is appropriate, but they're only doing one sitting. They've done 2 sittings in the past, an afternoon and an evening. They're only doing 1 sitting this year, so it's 4 till 6. So if you want to get out there, you're not sure what to do on a Saturday night, don't want to cook, don't want to do dishes, I know that's me, you can go out and get your meal there. And I've also been invited to attend the Bear River Fire Hall Firefighters Annual Awards Banquet. That is on that evening as well, April 26th. So that's where I will be that evening. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor. District 9.
Greetings from District 9. I was very fortunate last week to sit in on the Volunteer Selection Committee, and it never ceases to amaze me the wonderful volunteers we have in our communities and how important they are. They're the backbone of most of our activities. So that was a real treat. The shelter in Middleton is wrapping up, which is going to lead me into mentioning the Annapolis County Housing Association. The first meeting was held in Nicktaw on April 10th. There was a little confusion about whether it was a county-held, a municipality venture, or, so I'd like to just state that the Annapolis County Housing Association is a nonpartisan registered not-for-profit, so they're not part of anything we do here at the municipality. So that made for some interesting conversations. They do have some sessions coming up, and housing is so important right now. And as I said, with the shelter wrapping up, the tents are going to be appearing in all their usual locations this year. And, we need to help resolve this and get people into housing. So the ACHA has another meeting coming up on April 12th, the Wilmot Community Hall from 10 until 11:30. Kingston Lions Hall on April 14th, 7 to 8:30. April 17th, Middleton Fire Hall, 7 to 8:30. And April 22nd in Lawrencetown at the Fire Hall. And wrapping up in Bridgetown, April 23rd, 7 to 8:30. So please get involved, engage with this group. They're doing some wonderful work, and hopefully they can help guide us in a better direction for our housing needs. What else do I have here? I'm still going into the satellite office on Marshall Street in Middleton the last Thursday of every month. Not getting a great turnout, so maybe I need to change it to coffee Coffee with Counselor. Maybe that'll grab some attention. So I either have a very happy district, or I need to get better engagement with them. Anyway, we'll keep working on that, and everyone enjoy your long weekend.
Thank you, Councillor. District 10.
Greetings from District 10. I attended the Lawrencetown meeting last night, very short and sweet. Brian and the Public Works guy, which would have made quorum, are off on courses in Halifax. So it was a very short and sweet meeting. Again, I'll just comment on the community engagement. It's April 22nd, Lawrencetown Fire Hall from 6:30 to 8 on housing and the community. Dealing with Springfield, ran back and forth, got everything for to get their deed situated so they can claim they own the formal Springfield school lot that they've been using for many years. Talked to a gentleman that owed in Springfield about a street light in his community, so that's ongoing. One of the biggest things this past month is that our jobs as a counselor, we answer to all level of government issues, and when we go to decide how many counselors are needed in the area, don't forget that we usually get slam dunked with all three levels of government's issues. I've got requests right now to drive most of my dirt roads in Springfield, which is the province's. But as a county councilor, they expect us to go to their needs. So this week I'll be driving all the government dirt roads that they say are impassable, try to meet with our MLA and try to figure out if the provincial government's going to be allotting any money for gravel on these roads and the issues that the people have. And because it's been a wet, long drawn out spring and working for the provincial government for many years, it's probably one of the worst years in a while that the roads aren't drying up. They're impassable in places. What can you do with a grader on a wet dirt road? Nothing. You can hope you can, but you can't. You make a mess. But I think that there's other issues the province has got away from, other types of activities that could make it a little better. So that's been a big request this month, is the dirt roads, especially on the South Mountain, for the bed like that. So thank you. Have a good long weekend.
Thank you. Okay, from District 11. There was a breakfast on the weekend with the Easter Bunny on Saturday, April 12th, and it was well attended. Everyone that attended, kids and adults alike, enjoyed their time at the Easter Bunny. Three Rivers Community Center on 41 Messenger Road in Torbic Mines is also hosting a paint night. The Artist in Aprons, Tuesday, May 6th from 7 to 9. Registration should be done before May 2nd to secure your spot. The cost is $35 for a 12-inch round, and all the supplies that go with it. So check it out on their Facebook page. There's a lot of activities there that you can look at. I also participated in the volunteer selection committee with Councillor Oxner. As you know, there are so many volunteers and so many that aren't mentioned. They do fantastic work. And I also headed out at the housing meeting that also attended with Councillor Oxner and Nick Tall. I will be attending the Bear River Fire Department as well, the banquet with Councillor Harding. I didn't know if he knew that, but he knows now. And I will be seeing all the great work that they do down there and all the volunteers that do work for the Bear River Department. I'd like to wish you all a happy Easter weekend with family and friends, and to stay safe. Thank you. So there's mine. Okay, so now we're going back to, we have to have a
Quick lunch break?
Yeah, so we'll just recess to 1:30? Okay. Take a recess to 1:30.
I'm gonna try to find something to eat somewhere. I don't got time.
Welcome back to the council meeting. This afternoon, we have two presentations. The first presentation is on Annapolis County Housing Association, and the second one will be Annapolis River Festival. We'll get started with the Annapolis County Housing Association. This will be, the presenter will be Kevin Colvin. Yes? Welcome.
Behind the mic.
We got the podium.
I'll adjust it for tall people. Perfect. Yeah, thanks very much for having us. I'll just give you a quick background sketch, and then we have homework packages for you. But being a teacher, I know if I give you those first, you won't listen to a thing I've said, so you're not having them to read. This nonprofit was incorporated in November of 2023. It was started by former MLA, former student of mine, Carmen Kerr, and his assistant, Evan Farron. So they work together, and between the two of them, they have 15 years' experience working in constituency offices. And during most of that time, there are certainly similarities that run through where the difficulties are and where people are having trouble. And housing and affordable housing was right at the top of the list. So they were finding that people were working in hospitals part-time and living in their car. And you see that all the time, I'm sure, with your constituents since you were going door to door. Typical would be somebody working at any retail business at $15.70 an hour. If they manage to get full-time work, they may clear $18.80 a month. If their apartment they were trying to rent was $1,500, that doesn't leave them a whole lot for food, transportation, car insurance, medical, and the list goes on. Because most of those folks do not have health benefits if they're working part-time, or for many businesses can't afford that. So that was one group we were seeing. The other group is older adults. I saw this a lot with 3 years of working at CORA, which is just totally older adult programming in Middleton at NSCC. And you had situations where people were forced to maybe move with somebody where it wasn't a very safe place for them to be because they couldn't afford to be in their own home, they couldn't afford to rent, and if they did have a place, perhaps they couldn't afford to pay for the oil or fix it up to sell it. And then the other major group that we were seeing in Annapolis County was NSCC students. Many would like to attend COG or would like to attend the Middleton campus, but they can't find housing. And in some cases, they're living in places that are quite deplorable, forced to stay there or not enroll. So to address that need, Carmen and Evan started working with connections at housing in Halifax. And they were inquiring about land for housing projects. They were inquiring, like, what do you need in order to get Crown land that's sitting waiting for people to take it over. They started to meet with developers to see who's interested in working with affordable housing, and there aren't many because the profit margins aren't as high. And so the answer was to form a nonprofit. And then they asked some of us local folks to join that nonprofit and start to work. And then land for housing opportunity came up. We found a developer, sort of the best arranged marriage ever. And so we, as the nonprofit, can work with the developer, and then they get a lower mortgage rate. And we just work with each other. They have all the skill and the expertise, and we can apply for funding. So that's the stream we're working on, the fastest moving freight train we've ever been on, but it's the way it's working. So the first thing that we did was think we need to find out what the community wants. because it's no use to have a developer build something and people go, no, we don't want one bedrooms, we don't want studio apartments, we need this. So, and then there's the whole not in my backyard, and you know how that works. So it often is just a lack of understanding, and it's misunderstandings and myths and misconceptions. So the only thing to do was to get out into the community and really find out. We sent out 7,000 of these flyers. So there's these various grant streams. It's like Where's Waldo to find out where they are. This one, we were able to get funding for strategic plan they wanted us to have, and also for community building. So we turned that into flyers, not on social media, but 7,000 flyers we delivered to the post offices so people, and we didn't come as far as Annapolis Royal with that. We just went from Annapolis up the 101, the 201, and beyond. We went for the largest population centers because our land is located in Middleton. That's the land we have been given. So that was the reason for just 7,000. And then as volunteers, we're putting together these community sessions. And thank you to Gidget and Diane who came to our first one. And after that, we had one in Wilmot. We did one on a Saturday morning in Wilmot, and last night we were in Kingston, and we had 25 people out in Kingston, and we run them all in very small group sessions, 4 at a table, and they problem solve, and they talk about what's happening in their community, and fill out surveys and do questions, and the feedback is phenomenal, because you get rid of the myths, and you really find out what the issues are. So we've been really thrilled with how that is going. On the other side, with the property development, we're now in the midst of applying for a pre-development fund. That's through the Community Housing Transformation Center. Everything's got an acronym, of course. And so that one, we are working with the province on that, and they're doing some of the major pre-development land work. So if you get a land for housing grant, they will do the environmental assessment phase 1 and phase 2, and that's a lot of money. They'll do the engineering, not structural, but soil analysis to make sure that the foundation will hold on that particular property, engineering as far as stormwater is concerned. So all that basic work, anything that's pre-development, the province will cover on this land for housing, and that is thousands of dollars, and they are incredible to work with. That department, Growth and Development Department, they want affordable housing and they want to support rural Nova Scotia. And you may get a call from them at 7:30 at night that they just realize you may try this, or you should try that, or this needs to be done. So we're applying for money from that fund, and we'll do development agreements, more engineering studies, and anything that the government isn't covering. At the same time, it's up to the nonprofit to apply for CMHC seed funding. That is a funding stream. We're just in the midst of that now. Timing wasn't the best in the midst of the community things, but you have to do what you have to do. And that's a large grant. It's $150,000 non-repayable. You don't have to pay that one back. And $350,000, which would be a mortgage. So we're working with the developer on that grant, and that application, with any luck, will go in by Friday morning. So our role as a nonprofit is to be following all these funding streams at the same time as your developer is ready to go. And it works hand in hand. Now, we really wanted both the municipal council and the town council to have first-hand knowledge of what the program is like and background on it. So at our sessions, we weren't giving out copies of the provincial agreement with the government, but we've got that in your package. So, and this would be to help you later on if you have other groups or some of you want to take this on yourself. So in your package, we've got what the land for housing opportunity looks like, what plot of land we have, the actual agreement between the province, so you'll see what that looks like as well. We've included the wait list on housing in Annapolis County, which you know that social housing is at over 400, with 50% of them being older adults. So the need is certainly there. With our builder, we're giving you an outline of the kind of properties that they have been building, giving you an overview of our grant application. And this may be useful, I thought, if you were applying, and it's a list of what the province will pay for on this land for housing project, and then what we will be applying for separately under a different grant fund. Again, just information that you may find useful for other groups. And then with our capacity building grant in the community work, one thing we were trying to make the public aware of, developers sometimes get a really bad name. You know, oh, they don't want to do that. They can't make enough money. Well, they have to meet payroll. You're not going to work for a developer for $7 an hour. So they have to provide employment, and they're a huge cog in that wheel. And so you have to adjust. And so we've got a little handout that we were giving people to help them understand, here's the barriers for a developer. And of course, it's things like increased cost to bring crew in. A Halifax developer, just like with the condo project, they're not going to come and bring a crew of 50 down from Halifax. So that little handout is what went out to people in every session. You may find that helpful as well as a copy of our survey. And we've had 160 responses to that so far. And once all of that data from the surveys, from our community sessions is finished, then if you want, we can bring that to you. We're offering to do that for both councils, and we'll do Annapolis as well. Again, it would be good data for you to have on where people's from, what their major issues were from all those online surveys. So this is the kind of project where we need to be sharing resources. We need to be sharing ideas to make it work. So that's your package. I suppose I could be a little more helpful.
I can do that.
You're getting them all.
Yeah, and I did off 12 copies.
Perfect.
Councillors and so we'd be pleased, by the end of May, we should be through with that process and have some, the preliminary data really puts it out by community, really nice little colorful charts, and you can see the percentage from which community and so forth. Okay, that's my 10 minutes. I don't want to take any more of your time if anybody has any questions.
Any questions, councillors? Anybody wants to start?
I will, thank you. Thank you. This is amazing to see a package follow it, to take home and go through. The need, we all know the need is there. We're desperate, right? I think about those frail families where, two people are working and children are home alone, and there's just, it's endless, the bills that they have coming their way. Seniors who live on horribly fixed incomes and struggling to find appropriate living arrangements, and looking at those spaces being put on bus routes so that they have options for transportation in order to get to the necessary appointments and things like that. So we need to be mindful and respectful of all of those things that will make it a great success, right? But partnerships and finding all of this information, and you're sharing this, I just thank you very much.
Oh, good.
Thank you,
It's our
councillor.
pleasure.
Any other questions or comments? None? Yes, Councillor Welsh?
I really appreciated your time that you put, your energy that you put into Cora and into the academy and all the work that you've done over the years. I so value that, and it's I know that it's in good hands if you're taking on this project, so thank you.
Thanks. We've got a really good bunch of people. And you know, from all of your work, your committees are only as strong as the people who are able to step up at that particular time. I think what's going to make the difference on this project is community support. If they really feel that there is hope at the end of the tunnel. Nobody wants to just get on the treadmill, do the same old thing, and not have a good outcome. So that is the worry. And again, we'd be pleased to provide you with all that data, and then we will share it on our website as well. But first, we would like to give a more comprehensive report to the councils to help them as you go forward, because you're facing these issues every day. There are some interesting comments coming up, and I know at the session Gidget and Diane were at, the land survey issues came up in zoning, and that is coming up. We had in the past group 3 more groups of people who had adult children who weren't making enough to live on their own, and they would like to be able to rezone something on their property. So anyway, we'll have some good data for you, I hope. Yes, Ted?
Is this McGee?
Yes, it's McGee Avenue. So the land, the location of the land is 3.5 acres on McGee Drive, which is right next to Housing Nova Scotia.
So is that section?
Yes, and up the hill. So it borders on Main and had access on Main as well as McGee Drive. So 3.5 acres of the Crown land. Good part, middle of town, walkable, accessible, bus transportation. So lots of opportunities for people that have few.
And that's your one piece?
That's the one piece, 3.5 acres.
How many housing units are you hoping to?
The application, now, this is what went in, but it's subject to what people want. But the application that was approved was for 67 units, 34 affordable, and 33 market. And then how this works is that developer would stay on to train the nonprofit to take over management, because the nonprofit ends up owning that building.
Okay, that's another question I had.
That's how this arrangement works. So that's all new territory for us. And now, the plans that were drawn up said, well, we'd have so many studios, so many one-bedrooms, so forth. We may find from the community meetings that nobody wants a studio apartment. So we don't know what we're going to find, but that will dictate, or if somebody, all the feedback from the community is we don't want this, well then it won't go forward. But this is where we are, yes.
So I'm assuming that the market one will be owned by the developer, is that correct?
No. The nonprofit takes the entire structure
whole
over.
thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's right up there with Root Canal.
You separated the two, I just assumed that.
Well, you have to do the full budget, and the developer, they've been doing this since 2019, so that's why I thought you might want to look at what they had been working at, so there's a sheet in there about their work. So they have everything projected as to what the rents need to be, and in order to cover the maintenance for the nonprofit. Now, obviously, the nonprofit would have to have a caretaker who would live there. So there are a few details to be worked out yet, but that's the basic structure. All right, so we'll rent your apartment anytime you want.
Any other questions?
Perfect. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for coming
And
Thank you.
Heather.
our information is there if you want to call, or be sure and drop in. We have 3 sessions left.
there
Or
on the
Stonebridge
23rd.
down. Pardon?
I'll be there on the 23rd.
Perfect, we'll sell you a ticket.
Oh, where do you look?
It's $500 a ticket.
Bring your money. Put me down for 2.
I heard that.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we now have, there it is. She's here? Okay. Our second presentation is for the Annapolis River Festival.
And are the slides are sent on here already?
Slide right up.
Perfect.
Have a good day, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, here. If I throw, they're just, I think, not sized well for this. Can I change how I have it open?
Not sure what's the best thing on that.
Or I
question.
also have it on a USB drive if that's the fastest way. Oh yeah, if that's all we're gonna do, then I can do that too, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
There we go. Okay, so hello everyone, my name's Katie McLean. I have a fairly light and easy presentation today. I'm here on behalf of the Annapolis River Festival Organizing Committee. And because there's quite a few new faces to us on council, we wanted to make sure that this event was fresh in everyone's minds because it is an event where we call upon the county to engage in a lot of different ways. So for a little background, I did previously work with CARP in fall of this past year when my federal parental leave ran out. I made the choice to resign and stay home with my 3 and 1.5-year-old. But from about 2013 until that time, I was an employee of Clean Annapolis River Project. And now I'm strictly a volunteer. And our organizing committee is about 16 members strong. We're being led by Jillian Kerr and Marky Bear today, who weren't able to come for this presentation. But I've been helping with this event since its inaugural year in 2015, so I'm relatively familiar with it by now. And just in case anyone's not familiar with Clean Annapolis River Project, the hosting organization, we're an environmental nonprofit with the mission of ecologically healthy watersheds and driven by our mission to enhance ecological health of the Annapolis River watershed for current and future generations through science, leadership, and community engagement. So CARP as an organization has been operating since 1990. I'm really going to focus on the festival today, but wanted to give you an idea of what's going on that we're supporting through this event. So we do work with water quality monitoring, a lot of work recently with agricultural biodiversity, estuary research and monitoring, freshwater fish habitat is one of our staple programs, stormwater management and natural infrastructure, and species at risk stewardship as kind of a taste of the breadth of things we do. And I think what I always try and drive home is that we're called Clean Annapolis River Project. People hear river and think water, but the watershed is comprised of both its terrestrial and aquatic components. So we do work that focus on the land just as much as the water. You can't disconnect the two. So the purpose of the festival is, one, to raise funds for CARP. We had a consultant give us the advice years ago through a strategic planning process that a signature event might be one thing that was missing in this area that we could leverage as an opportunity. But we really also approached planning for this event as a friend-raising opportunity and a chance to showcase the environmental, cultural, historical, and recreational values of the Annapolis River. And I think that's where there's a lot of close intersection with the county's interests. For CARP, things like having people engaged in canoeing, fishing, other recreational pursuits makes them care. It makes them care more about our mission. And I think similarly, if you look at investments like the floating dock facility at Jubilee Park, you're putting money into recreational infrastructure, and we all want to see it used, maintained, and appreciated. So like I said, the inaugural festival was in 2015. We took 3 years off during COVID, the two because, it was kind of required. And then the year following, just because businesses were still recovering, the flavor was that, it's too soon.
Excuse me. The lady that was here before might have left her cell phone here. It was red. Oh, it's good. Sorry.
Okay. So we've been able to grow the festival. It's the first year we had no idea what we were doing, but we still received 1,200 people, and we've been able to grow it. So our peak has been about 1,800 strong. We have about 150 individuals who support us either in the planning process or on the day of, and that doesn't include businesses who provide those financial contributions to support the event. And we see at least 450 people on the water, so using that dock facility at Jubilee Park with each event. Last year, for anyone who is there or who remembers being the exception, we had to make the call to cancel events. We had that incredible rainfall event, and I think from a risk mitigation factor, it would have been an absolute nightmare. And I'm not the person to say that. If anyone was going to put people on the water, it would be me, and I made that call. But we're moving forward with hopes that we don't have an event like that. The discussion on climate change is for another day. The core of the event really is our dragon boat races. That's where the fundraising opportunity comes. So we can host up to 18 teams. The county has had a team. I think this would be their third year running if they enter. We're hoping to use that to get other municipalities involved. So the town of Annapolis has participated. Maybe we can get Digby in against you guys. We'll see. And we can take about 20 people per team. We do prizes for the fastest boat, most pledges raised, the most team spirit. So that's the bulk of kind of what's happening on the water that day. But there's a lot that's evolved around it now. So as a quick breakdown of the activities on site, we have our skills village, and this is probably, I think, the most impressive piece of the event that we've grown. So last year we had 18 different volunteers, artisans, tradespeople, makers, who did everything from like hula hoop making to bird box building, rope repurposing, fly tying. And everything's provided to people for free. So they can come, drop in anytime, and learn these different skills. So it's a great chance to showcase what we have going on in the Valley, and we partner with the Valley, I'm forgetting Maureen's organization, Folk School, and she draws in a lot of people that way. But one of the key things with land-based events with this Skills Village is it makes it an enticing event for the community because admission's free. This is a completely free activity, and we've got a whole range of interests that are represented. And I do want to drive that free thing home. It's a fundraiser, I pointed that out, but we can't forget it's a fundraiser as well. And it's really important to us in planning and making sure that families have something interesting for everyone. So if we jump down, like just having a bouncy castle as a new parent is great. Send them there. We have more active things to get people on the water. So there's different canoe races, a canoe obstacle course. There's kayaks. We now have stand-up paddle boards. So this is another place where we partner with recreation. We use the county's equipment and provide free loans to people because that's made available to us. We have live music in the pavilion there. We have our large food and beverage tent set up adjacent to that so people can take advantage of music. The tent is licensed now, so we can have families inside provided they buy food, so all those kind of standard licensing things. We have our farming and livestock with 4-H component. So we've been working with the Clarence 4-H Club, and it gives a chance for their members to come out, showcase what they've been working on. And I don't want to call it a petting zoo, it's not the same thing, but they have, their mini horses, ponies, there's goats, bunnies, and things that, again, kids, adults really love to come and see. We have what we're calling our education corner. So we have about 15 environmental and some not necessarily environmental partners who come, and it's an opportunity for them to set up in displays and network with people who might be interested in volunteering because they align with that organization's mission or mandate. And those partners come from across Nova Scotia. Kids activities, so there's the bouncy castle, there's more active things. It's even a chance for people to see the playground. I know it's evolving over time. That's at Jubilee Park, and take advantage of that. And we also have usually a recreation staff member come out from the county and help us out with activities for the day. Guided heritage river tours are made available to us from volunteers who lend their boats. They take out of groups, it ranges from 6 to 10 people. We run 3 tour times, and we take people up to Bloody Creek. Our guides are kind of adorned in Acadian garb and give a historical and culturally focused tour about the river. So that's like my fast, this is what this event is about in a nutshell. So if you see the name coming out, it's in your mind, you understand what we're saying. That's what I'm trying to drive home today. But happy to take any questions if there is any.
Thank you for that. Very interesting. A lot of happening things happening there. Any questions or comments? Yes, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Warden. Thank you, Katie. This is amazing. I'm excited, hopefully, that we will see this actually happen this year and not get canceled. I know that flood last year was quite bizarre, how it all happened so quickly, right? Quick question around seniors.
Yep.
Is there a special tent area where it would be easier for seniors to onload and offload, like if they were coming by a particular size van or bus, and a place where they could walk safely with roller aids or something like that so that they could come down and participate in the afternoons?
So what we've been doing is we have golf carts and gators that run a shuttle for people who that works for, and that's from that main entrance road. And even though we close off parking for anyone who stops and says to the, probably Heather who just left, to that team of people, hey, we need to go in, we leave egress so people can drive in to be dropped off and leave, and we do leave accessible parking. And then in terms of access to the water, it kind of is what it is for anyone who's been to the park, but we do have additional volunteers for the riverboat tours. The demographic of people interested in that skews to some people who need mobility assistance. So those volunteers are just there for like hand holding and carrying extra things to get people loaded in the boat.
How about like tent areas, like out of the sun, so that seniors could sit safely, not exposed?
Yeah, so the main tent would be available for that, and then we also have a 10 by 10 tent that's set up as a comfort station for anyone who needs a place, and that's where our first aiders are. There's water available, so that's, I mean, it is adjacent to that main tent, but that is there, and we put up signs, but it seems no matter how many signs, it's hard sometimes for things to be noticed, but that is there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Katie. This is going to be exciting. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from anybody else? No? Well, thank you so much for coming in and giving us an overview of what's going to be happening. And you're going to see a team of some of these people out there rowing the boat.
All of you on the water.
Doing something.
The date this year
Is July 12th.
right?
Yes. Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Can't wait.
We are now.
What? I like hollering at people. I'm going to be banging the drum and yelling at you.
I can imagine that. Okay.
And a long poker stick.
Oh.
Faster, faster.
Don't let her on the roof. Okay, so we are at number 10.1, which is in camera. I need a motion to go in camera. Motion by Councillor Welch. Seconder? Councillor Oxner. Thank you. All in favor by signifying by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.